second. It's coming up. Let's see. All right, all right. Yep. Coming up, coming up.
You just want to compete with the NFL draft tonight. That's all, to see if you can get more views than the NFL draft. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the internet can handle this tonight, because billions of people watching that thing. Very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, we're live now. It looks good.
All right. So, okay. We are live right now today on YouTube as well with some friends today. Our friends that join us regularly. And today we're going to be talking about imaging and some of the like single type of imaging, more of a network type of imaging. There are different type of way we do things in the corporate world and the business world. And we're going to talk about some of the realistic examples and talk more about this area. Because it is a very important skill, and people ask about this when you go to the interviews, even though when you go for the entry-level interviews. And we're going to be doing this kind of stuff. We're going to be actually doing back and forth with our the people that are joining today, because we have some people that are actually in IT, like KevTech and Steven and Vilad is joining soon. And then we have some members that are going to be also joining us. And I also want to welcome the YouTube community in the chat area. So definitely ask questions, and we will be stopping in the middle to answer your questions. Now, while I do that, give me just 1 second here. So when I pull up this information, and then we're going to start sharing the screen. Till then, get warmed up a little bit, and then maybe if you have any questions, think about it. This way we can actually talk about that stuff later on. While I am fixing this thing and I'm bringing up some of the stuff right here, KevTech, maybe do you want to announce that what you're going to do on Saturday?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm going to be going live at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and I am going to be going over Exchange, basically. So we're going to go over Exchange. So I'm going to go over I have a VM with a server 2016. Mm-hmm. And it has Exchange on it as well, like on-site premise. So basically it's on site. This isn't Azure or cloud or any of that stuff. But basically it does have Exchange 365, and then we're going to go over creating a new account, how to create a mailbox for that new account. We're going to go over distribution groups, and we're going to go over a bunch of other stuff. It's just all entry-level stuff that you should know if you're trying to get a job in IT. And I should be live at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Thank you, Kev. Just KevTech, I made you a moderator, and also Vilad, I made you a moderator, and I'll add more people too in there if they are in this Zoom section right now. So, okay, let me share my screen right here, and then we're gonna jump into why are we doing this session today? Like, what's the reality behind it? What's that real world requirement that we're talking about today? What is that? Let's just go ahead and let me share my screen with you all, and so you guys can understand what I'm doing here. Okay. Let's go ahead, share the screen, second screen, and we're going to do that. All right, so can you all confirm that my screen shared? Anyone?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, we see it.
Perfect. All right, so if you look at it, when we go to Indeed.com and we put this term out there, imaging or deployment or stuff like that, right? Or you go to, even if you don't put this term right here, you go to these help desk type of jobs, or IT support jobs, or IT administrator jobs, or anything that is the entry level, or even level 1, level 2, level 3. It doesn't matter, because this skill itself is basic to advanced. You gotta know that this is not something that I would expect from someone who's brand new, just coming out of the college, and I will expect him to know about imaging, right? So why do you really need this skill? The skill is very important for you to know, even though people do not expect this. But if you go to a job, and if you're competing against people who are going to be either brand new, or there's going to be too much competition, then you got to be unique, right? You have to add that spice, a little bit spices to this area right here. So as you can see, we have our new, our new member that I was talking. All of my live members right here. We have a Nightbot joining us too, and probably Nightbot is a little late, maybe, or maybe he do his job. It's already blacklisted somebody, right? All right. So, guys, here's the thing. We may get some attacks in the live chat, so just ignore it. We got moderators out there. They're going to be actually disabling everything, so don't focus too much on that kind of stuff, and focus what I'm saying right here. So, the reason behind this session is to tell you that imaging is a thing. So, if you're a brand new person, you may be thinking, "What is imaging?" Because sometimes one day I asked someone that, "Hey, you know." What is imaging? They start talking about like pictures, stuff like that. So it's not, imaging is not pictures, right? And that's where we said that, okay, what is ticketing? Someone will say, oh, are you talking about like airplane ticketing or something like that? So here's my thing, is that you really need to focus in this area and then learn it, but you don't need to master anything over here. Now, if I ask some of the people that are already in IT, have you ever heard of this term, KevTech or Steven? What do you guys think about imaging? Like, let's start with KevTech.
Imaging. If someone is doing help desk, the first thing I think about with imaging is F12.
F12, like you boot you start with the boot. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
I was thinking of F12, and then if I could go in depth, you could think of F12, or you could think of changing the BIOS settings, or you could think about imaging in a imaging in a sense that you're basically plugging something to the network. You pixie boot, and then you basically pick an image through whatever imaging software the company uses, SSCM, Ivanti.
Do you guys use any imaging? Like, do you use any imaging?
We use Ivanti.
Oh, you guys, okay, you use Ivanti. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
What about you,
thinking
Steve?
about Acronis.
SCCM.
Okay.
As far as imaging goes, I mean, when I think of imaging, you can image a PC, but they take the operating system, they kind of like, they get the image. Now they start to piece it together the way that the corporation or the whatever wants it. They, put in all the group policies, whatever they got to do. They make an image up, and then basically that's what they deploy to every single machine, so everybody's the same throughout the whole entire network. I mean, that's just the way it works. That's the way it should work. So when you walk up to that machine, you can pretty much do any PC that's in. If you have 10,000 machines, 10,000 machines are almost identical until the user gets a hold of them and breaks them, of course. But other than that, when you first give it to them, everything should be good. That gets to call that like the golden image. Is what we used to call it anyway.
So basically, when Steve says golden image, it's like you have one machine that you spend so much time on, right? That you created, you work on the tiny things and all that kind of stuff, and then you kind of like replicate the same process with other machines. Or this could be one fresh machine that you want to save your time, right, Steven? Is that what you mean by golden image?
That is correct. I mean, basically, when we had the golden image, it would be the image that's out at that point. So if the SCCM team would make any kind of modifications, they would update the SCCM server, of course, and when we would pixie to download the new image to our machine, I mean, they may update the actual operating system from 1903 to 1807, or 1807 to 1903 to Windows 10. Some of the images may be older, some may be younger. I mean, they're not going to push out images to older computers. You know what I mean? So you have to catch up. But everything still works the same, but the images could be different in that respect. But overall, they push out the updates.
The updates, okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Paint right here, or maybe I'll just open up this one. This is a better tool right here. So if anybody have a question in the chat too, they can ask us. We can definitely answer some of these questions. So let me know if you guys can see this screen now, this white screen. Is everybody seeing my white screen?
Yep, we see it. Perfect.
Okay, so in my terms, and there's many different ways to use imaging, right? There's a lot of different possibilities when it comes to imaging. So first, let's talk about just a single image. So right behind me is a laptop right here. Let's say, for example, I am working in a company, and this is my CEO laptop. And let's say I come over here, plug in the USB or the ISO or whatever from a DVD, and I install that operating system. So if I install that operating system, that takes me, let's say, about 15 minutes or something like that, just to finish it up and everything. If a computer fast, maybe faster than that. But I finished just a normal installation of operating system. What do I mean by that? Plugging in a USB and running everything from scratch, right? And then maybe running updates and everything like that. So that's another few more minutes. And then after that, I put applications on top of this. Then after that, maybe I have some type of customization that needs to be done. So for this CEO, let's say I spend 2 hours creating that computer, because it's a complete process, right? So you think about it. If an image can be very useful. Let's say, for example, this is our CEO laptop. I know my drawing is amazing right here. I love it, right? So you guys love it too, right? So
Yeah.
so this is our CEO laptop right here, right here, right? So if you look at it, we spent 3 hours on this machine. And what happens, let's say, if this CEO comes back tomorrow morning and boom, this computer went down, like the operating system got corrupted, or or let's say a virus came in and it did some damage to that computer, right? Now that's gonna be pretty I'm gonna be a little upset inside. Of course, in front of CEO, I won't say anything, but think about it, man. I'm gonna be like, I spent a lot of time on that laptop. Wow. Now, first of all, it's just not a good thing to go back out there and then like tell your CEO that let me redo everything from scratch, right? It's not gonna look too good, right, KevTech? I'm sure you've been in this kind of situation too, where you feel like, okay, man, I should have done a better job over here. So one thing you could do is, of course, you could take a full backup, right? Now, a backup is something that we don't talk when backup and imaging is this differences between these two. Okay, now when you take a image, I'm going to more talk about image today. When you take an image of this laptop, a full machine image, meaning you are what? You're selecting the C drive, you're selecting the D drive, you're selecting the format of that whole structure, how you have given it to this CEO. So two things can happen with imaging. One, if you have another laptop, exactly the same hardware and everything. Like, to be honest, when we work in corporate type of environments, we always keep a second backup hardware for these type of people. Why is that? Because we do not want to waste time over here. To be honest, when it comes to troubleshooting a computer for this type of people, we do not spend more than 30 minutes or 40 minutes. That's how it is because this is such a fast-paced area. Business world works that way because they have money and you have a good backups. Now, not everybody can do that to take a hardware for every single important person. That's maybe they may have it, but most of the people, if they are working in an environment that is pretty big, they are relying on these CEOs and directors and everybody, you always want to keep a backup for yourself. Because let's say, for example, this was to happen to me right now and I had an image now. Think about it. If I had an image ready in my USB right now, this is, let's say, my external USB or network drive or whatever it is, right? I have that image available to me. All I got to do is what? I'm going to come to this laptop. Because I took the image, let's say, yesterday, I can come back over here and recover and restore the same stuff for this CEO and give it to him in about 20 minutes. And boom, my job is there. I'm going to be pretty happy about that. So what will happen if I do that? Let's say, for example, let's change this a little bit now. Let's say this happened after 30 days. And I still have my image, by the way. I still have the image with me. And if this laptop goes down now, and my CEO called me that my laptop went down, do you guys have anything like, some backups or anything? What's the disadvantage? Okay, advantage is that you have the image, but what is the disadvantage over here? Anyone? This is happening after
the data he saved in his laptop, that will be gone, but you can make that backup in the image.
Good job. So you think about it. If the image is 30 days old, yes, you're going to recover everything fast and you're going to get the machine up to date and everything. You're going to give him the machine ready. But this is where imaging is more like this. Either you're going to go for a product that can be managed or customized in a way that what Steve is saying, that there's going to be updates on top of that image. So you have an image, like a golden image, and then you can actually add more to it. So you see, this is later on customization. Now, this is something I would say that's an advanced stuff. Nobody would expect from a level 1 entry level who's just brand new to IT would to go and change images stuff like images, drivers, none of that stuff. If people do that and people make you do that in level 1, I think that person deserves a slap. But I'm just gonna be. You guys can agree with me, by the way. You guys can disagree with me. I mean, that's my own personal thoughts of that. That if people do that to you, then that's just messed up. Okay, Steven, you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I mean they would never allow you to touch that image in probably level 1. I mean, that's been something. I mean, that's something that someone else, from the SACM team or some other team would have a hold of. I mean, you would never touch that. I mean, you're just manipulating, the actual image. You're not doing anything to that physical image. I mean, I never heard of any help desk person ever touching that ever, because that's something that's sacred. It's
exactly.
Like,
exactly. So and that's where the reason why this is going to be so important. But think, let me give you another example now. Okay, I am in a help desk. I don't know too much about imaging, and I felt like this is such a cool thing right now. So I have a call tomorrow to there's a 300 new machines are coming to our office. So why don't you take care of them, right? So now you're thinking you have two ways to do it. You can go to one machine by machine and install what operating system, applications, drivers, whatever it is. And let's say per machine, it takes you 35 minutes. 35 multiplied by 60 minutes. I mean, I think you're going to lose your mind right here, right? I mean, who's going to do that job? 35 minutes. I'm making it pretty short, right? It never is 35 minutes. When you make a full machine, Kevtech can agree with me right here. It's never 35 minutes. It's way more than that because you got to do a lot of little tiny things and you got to fix things. So of course it's way more than that, right? So imagine now, think about it. If a brand new help desk person, think about, oh my God, I got a solution right here because Danish was teaching this on live on YouTube. So I can just use one of his products, not his products, but one of the products that he's doing. I'm going to make an image and I'm going to deploy it to 300 machines now. Now, why would people not let you do that? That's such a great solution right here. I mean, I'm saving you this. Look at this. If it takes you about 1 hour to configure the whole machines, and it takes you multiply that with 60 machines that's coming to your office, who would not let you do that? Why wouldn't I let you do that? I mean, it's such a cool thing. Blanca, what's up? So why wouldn't I let a level 1 do that? Well, here's the reason. I'll give you a very simple reason right here, okay? If I created an image and I don't know too much about imaging, I'll just give you a very basic level stuff. Let's say if you do not Sysprep an image and you deploy it to 300 machines, what will happen? What will happen to those 300 machines? If I do not Sysprep and send it to 300 machines, what will happen to those 300 machines? Let me tell you, easy thing. If you let's say I have 100 servers to deploy into one of my areas, like my environment, 100 servers, right? And I don't want to invest that kind of time. So I'm going to deploy 100 servers without sysprepping them. What will happen to those 100 servers now? So here's the thing. Because Active Directory is so sensitive on unique IDs, right? All these IDs, there you go. And you will not be able to join none of those machines to our domain, Active Directory, because Active Directory goes by what? Right? IDs, right? It's a unique ID. Yes, all these unique IDs. So what will happen if you do not sysprep it? Another word for this, I believe, is a generalization, a box or something like that. That's another word for it. So what it does, the sysprep, it removes all these unique IDs from your machine and it shuts itself down. If you say sysprep, restart it after sysprep, then what happens? It generalizes that machines, remove all the sys IDs, and then it gives it a unique ID addresses. Does that make sense? So this is why if a brand new person, a brand new technician send out 300 machines in their environment, they may think that they're doing it correctly, but a lot of applications that are connected to Active Directory will start breaking. A lot of applications that goes by unique identification will start breaking. You're going to have so many issues in future. You may not even realize it, by the way. In the beginning, you may think everything is working fine. But slowly, you're going to find some of the applications, they're not going to work. And then you will realize Either if the application is configured that way that it tells you exactly, hey, you got an identical ID somewhere else, that's going to be really hard, right? Applications are not that smart, or they're not built that way. The only way you're going to get that kind of error when you try to connect that same machine to Active Directory, because Active Directory says what? Hey, what are you doing? I already got you before. Why are you joining back to me, right? That's what Active Directory is going to tell you. And if you ever have to use that image for domain controller stuff, then forget about it. Your domain controller will know, you will not be able to even do another additional domain controller. Why? Because they go by so many tiny IDs out there, that is why learning about imaging is important. But it's at the same time, you're not going to be dealing with imaging in the beginning. And let me tell you, that doesn't mean that level 1 will not touch imaging, by the way. How are they going to touch imaging, by the way? Why are they asking that? If we are saying that, hey, it's not something that you're not going to be touching, then why are we saying that it's, well, first of all, why are they putting in the descriptions for even entry level? Then when are you going to need it? Well, how are you going to actually do it then?
In virtual machine, I guess.
No. Remember, imaging is usually, you don't do too much with virtualization, right? Like, okay, here's the thing. When you work for a company, do you work on a virtual environment, like you build machines on the virtual environment, or you have a physical laptop in front of you?
Oh yeah, actually copy that. Yeah, okay.
You have a physical laptop like this, right? Most of the job, most of the skills that we're teaching people, most of stuff that you're not going to be doing too much with virtualization, by the way. If it's you become a sysadmin, that's where you really touch virtualization. But if you come over to your job, like entry level help desk stuff, this is what you're seeing right here. Right behind me is like an office laptop right now. So think about it. This is an office laptop, and that's where you're going to be doing that. So why would we have imaging for level 1 then? Where are they going to start doing this kind of stuff? Where do they actually touch images?
When we need to deploy, as you explained earlier, for a lot of workstations.
Workstation. So okay, here's the thing. Let me show you guys something else right here. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to go back to this right here. Because we are saying that, look, we are doing this training because you're still going to be touching imaging in one way or another way. Okay, what happens when you go to the company? Like Steve and I tell people that you're going to be still, like you're not going to be touching it that much. You're not going to be creating that golden images. You're not going to be doing a lot of edits to, or you're not going to be creating servers for deploying images. You're not going to be doing that. But once a server administrator or a sysadmin or people at that level create that solution for you, then who is actually going to go out in the office and do that part?
Yeah, help desk.
Help desk. Does that make sense? So you're still going to be doing that. But here's the thing. Well, this is a good news for a lot of new people out there. You really don't need to learn it to master this stuff or to understand it at that level where you feel like, okay, I think I'm missing this, so let me just learn it from scratch and I will deploy a WDS. Then who's going to teach you DHCP stuff? Who's going to teach you DNS stuff, right? That's something you have to then configure it. That's I'm talking about sysadmin level stuff now. So that's something you need to understand what it is, DHCP fundamentals, DNS fundamentals, but that never means that for an entry level professional to go and configure a DHCP for a server. I have never heard that. I mean, people will ask you what that is. What does it mean? But they're not asking you to go and implement DHCP solution or DNS or all that kind of stuff. That's just not how it works for a very entry level person, right? So here's the thing: a solution is going to be already there in your company. So number one, good news for you is that don't worry about it. Don't worry too much about it, right? The second thing is for you is to only understand what imaging is. So then when somebody talk to you in the interview, then at least you can talk about it, that I did something in my lab. I use certain tools that I actually worked at the help desk level. You see how you're responding right now, right? You're not making it up. You're not saying, I know about WDS. I implemented it in one of my virtual box, and they're gonna, oh wow, you're doing a entry-level stuff, but you know about WDS and you have implemented all the DHCP stuff. So give me an answer about this DHCP pool or that kind of stuff. No, you're not going to be able to answer that, right? Let's just be realistic. Most of us will not be able to answer that. So the thing is this, that you want to keep it to the minimum level, right? You will also give the answer that I have done imaging, but I have done it on a single PC, and I have used certain tools that I basically took an image and re-imaged the laptop. I took a whole image, I did my work, and I used this tool, and I basically re-image the laptop. So a lot of times, even though that's not just for entry level, by the way, some companies are very specific, and they may have very different type of imaging in the images in the country. Like for example, marketing team may have a different image, sales team will have a different image. Why is that? Because they're using different softwares. Some will have different type of customization requirements. So some companies are very much like, you don't have one golden image, right, Stephen and Captain? You don't have one golden image then. And then sometimes you may be like, for example, like I gave you the CEO answer, right? So a lot of help desk people are involved in images that are very much like one-on-one. Like you have a USB with you, you got a USB like this, and a bigger USB, you got a product installed on that machine, or for that purpose, you just install it, take an image, put it in a USB, and now you're good to go, right? People do that. A lot of, I mean, I have seen many companies, they have their own tools. So the tool, we're not going to go into that single type of imaging today, because I don't want to. I'm going to actually pull up my membership area, and I'm going to actually show the paid version of video. So I'm just going to actually show the whole video about WDS, which a lot of my paid members actually watch these videos. So I'm just going to play it, and you guys can watch the whole thing so we can understand the whole flow. This means everybody will get this this video for free, basically. But that doesn't mean WDS videos are not available for free. Go to YouTube, and I'm sure people have tons of videos about WDS and tons of different type of images. So I'm going to actually show people, because a lot of people be like, okay, where do I really learn this stuff? Where can you show me some of the practical stuff? And we're going to touch something today. But like I said, this is way more than that, right? So the first thing I would like people to know, that if you go to our membership website, so there's no money involved, you're going to click on the help desk support course, and this is going to take you to this course. This is one of our top courses. Like I said, it has about 16,000 plus people, and you're going to come all the way down. So look at it, what I have covered already. So here's an advisory video on this, like what I'm talking today. So then there's this, like this open source tool that I use. The reason I use open source tool in the beginning is I like to teach with more clarity. When I show, let's say, WDS for teaching, then my people are looking at me like that. Like they're looking at me on the top of the video, and they're like, what are you talking? The first 20 minutes for them is outside of their zone. So they don't get it. So I never do that. I always show something that is very simple that you can do. You do not require servers or anything like that. And then you basically go and implement it yourself. So if you go to this video, this free course, and a lot of people get stuck right here, guys. This is where a lot of my help desk calls come. They click on this stuff right here, right? This white space, and they're like, hey, man, you said it's free, but it's not free. You have to go inside the course. This is curriculum page. So if you go all the way to the top, you see it says right here, start course. So once you click on start course, it's going to take you to the actual course now. That is where you access all these videos. Now I'm going to take you to one of these videos right now. I'm not going to play this one because this is for free. So you guys can come all the way right here. And where does it say images? Let's go down. Desktop imaging right there. So if you look at it, I have covered Pixie solutions, your backup solutions, Pixie Part 2, Windows 7 and 8 imaging, and Windows 7. I mean, that time I was doing Windows 7 and 8. And then if you come down to VM endpoint backup solution. So this is what I'm talking about. This solution is actually known by many people in the market right now. VM is not just an imaging solution, by the way. It's a Hyper-V backups, VMware backups. They're pretty much known in the market. And like I said, I'm never being paid by anybody, by the way. I don't take that kind of promotions or anything. If they're gonna promote me, they're gonna be part of my platforms. That's the only way they can do promotions in my channels. There's no shirt wearing kind of thing. I do not wear shirt for anybody. I'll probably wear my own shirt right here, or maybe KevTech one day, because he's gonna become a billionaire one day. So I think I should stop wearing his shirts. So if you look at it right here, and you go to this video, what I showed in this video is this: the same method of single application type of image, right? You got an application installed on this laptop, you got a VM, you install the application, you make your bootable CD and your bootable CD drive and stuff like that. You get that ready. You take a backup after 4 hours of working on this laptop, and then now you have in your USB, you have that available with you. So if this machine has to go down, then what do you have? You're gonna bring your USB back, you're gonna plug it in over here, and then you're gonna restore that image back over there. Now, does that make sense to a lot of people? right? This is the basic level of imaging that is required by you. And I'm not saying by you as in like you getting the job. That's not getting a job. This is when you actually start working in a company, then they will start telling you that, hey, this is what we use, and that's how you're gonna re-image the machine. And most of the time when you get a brand new machine, you don't spin up too many times like servers, like Pixie servers. Not much of that happens for a lot of new people, right? Because they don't understand Pixie, they don't understand how to do all that kind of stuff. And even if they do, it's given to them. What do I mean by that? When it's given to them, they train you, right? Most of the people then train you on most of the stuff that they're using, right? For example, there are tons of imaging solution in the market right now. There's absolutely no way possible that people are going to train you in every single solution. That's just, first of all, that's just useless. It's just that you got the idea behind the images, then there you go, you implement it. And how easily can you learn from it? You just do these kind of products like VM ones, and don't touch the server type of imaging first. So you got the idea, you're more comfortable with imaging now, and this is probably one of the best solution for home users too. If they're watching me and listening to me, this is probably one of the best solutions that you will have, and probably you will not need another Best Buy visit. That doesn't mean Best Buy are not good. They're really good, but that means it's going to save you money. So so this kind of solution is more of like a backup image, right? You install something on it, and then you got a product, and you basically, they even call it backup image, right? So there's a lot of like, like I said, there's a lot of it about this whole two topics. So what I would recommend, if you really are interested in this stuff, then you should go and do some search. What is the difference between a backup imaging, and what is the difference between a cloning and imaging, stuff like that, right? So it's going to basically tell you exactly what are the differences. Kevtech, do you use anything like that, like where you do a single image and not Pixie stuff like that?
We have it. So we have multiple clients. So it's a big company. So we have different images for different people. And then we always emphasize them to save everything on the shared drives. If anything were to happen, they save everything on the shared drive. So if anything they lose on the desktop, they lose it on the desktop. We don't back up their desktop. We don't back up their downloads folder. We don't back up their documents.
Exactly.
So we tell them to make sure they put everything on the shared drives, which I think Steven's going to agree with me, 50 to maybe 60% of them might not do it. They might not do it. They might not do anything on the shared drive, and they might just have everything locally saved. And then they have a bunch of stuff on their desktop for no reason. And that's the reason why the computer takes forever to turn on, and a bunch of other things. But for the most part, that's what it is.
What Kevtech is saying is a very common practice, especially these days. And I know back in the days, people were actually, hey, leave it in your My Document area and pictures, and people would use that. But back in the days, right, not anymore, because OneDrive came in. There's a cloud solutions right now, right? Even that kind of solutions are not very much implemented now for documentation purposes. And we specifically tell inside the companies now that we do not support if things are in the C drive or somewhere else. If you do it over there, it's gone. Now, of course, that doesn't mean it's gone totally, because if it's a CEO, I'm sure you will not be able to say that. You'll probably go and use certain tools to actually recover the data too. Then, of course, that's a different level thing. That's recovery and stuff like that. We're not going to go in there right now. But what Kevtech is saying is exactly how companies work. They have rules set, and they have these network drives and network sharing done. So that's where things are getting backed up, and that's why we're not too worried if a machine goes down.
Talking about the back in the days, I remember I was using like a Acronis True Image, and I think it was only one product what is available at the time. It was the time when Windows XP was present, but now it's looks like more products available.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, products are all over. Like if you and back in the days, a lot of people were actually using open source heavily. And I'll give you one product that was called Fog, FOG. It's a Linux based. I don't know which one is built on, but it was used like massively. Remember, like when I was in the Spice Force, very much active, every single person was actually using it. Why? Because it came out against ghost imaging. I don't know, most of you remember about ghost imaging, right? And still probably exists, I don't know, but that was like the first commercial type of imaging that was really, really known in the market, and that was expensive, I'm telling you. And people are like, what the hell, man, there got to be a better solution. So Fog came out. It was an alternative, right? It was a Linux based, and it was so easy, and it boom, it's just the imaging. Everybody started loving imaging, like, oh my god, this is the best thing. I can deploy 40 machines, 30 machines, 30 machines. And to be honest, at that time, when I was like, I told you guys how I started learning in the lab environment, and I saw fog and I saw all these different type of solutions, man, I was jumping from my chair. Like, I was like, this is amazing. Like, it's just saving me so much time. And I was learning too, and I was getting happy. So it's still very much used a lot of time, to be honest. But like I said, imaging is not something, like I said, it depends on a company to company, like I said. And to be honest, you can actually get a job and just doing a deployments for companies now. And you may be a deployment specialist. So you would be very good at this stuff to go for a company. Like, for example, let's say I am a director in one company, and I don't want my help desk guys to implement 300 desktop let's say in a week or two. This is, let's say, a big project because it's going to burn my people out. So maybe I'll give it to a vendor who does this for a living, right? They're going to come with their tools, switches and everything. They'll just drop everything out there, and boom, they have their own switches and everything connected to your system. And in a few hours, they're going to get the job done for you. And they're like, okay, everything is the way you want it. This is your master image. There you go. You got it done. Of course, that's how they make money too. And one of my members actually got the job just like that. He was working for AT&T, and he did his first project on deployments, and he used that on his resume. And the next thing you see, he's working for another big company now. Does that make sense? So you see how projects like this can be used even if you're doing it on a single basis. Projects like this can be used even if you're doing on a lab basis. So how is that possible? So one, if you're taking these courses, and of course you can say that, okay, I'm taking this help the support blah 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 course from JobSkillshare. So you can say that. That's one thing, because of course it tempts other people out. Like, people are like, okay, what is this? Like, let me see, right? And other IT professionals see a course format like this, and it has like so much that it relates to them. They like that. That's uniqueness. That is why we're saying why you're unique, right? That's the reason. So another piece of information that I want to share for free is right here. Like I said, if you want to learn something from our channels, JobSkillshare and a search term is just too powerful right here. Okay, we have 1,000 plus videos, and you cannot miss something from these search right now. Let me show you just one example, right? JobSkillshare image. As soon as you drop that, look at how many videos popped up just from JobSkillshare right there. And now I have shown you on the work, imaging and cloning. And I don't think you can get better example than this. Like, if you just open this video,
Liberty Mutual, take 96.
You're going to hear me singing in this video too. So if you want to hear me singing, actually, you should watch this video, because I'm like, there's nobody at work. And Steven, I'm like singing loudly, like, right? And look at this. I am actually imaging the whole lab. And I really don't think you can get a better example than this. What would you guys say? Right, KevTech? I don't think there's a better example than showing imaging like this when you have multiple machines, right?
I think you should start singing.
I don't know. I think, hold on.
Yeah, that's something that which that's why you have a lab there. But in our disaster recovery, we had a whole entire second floor which is about 50 machines we had down there, and they would sit off the network for a couple of months. And if a big storm was coming, going to come hit the Florida coast or something like that, boss would call us and say, hey, go downstairs and get the disaster recovery floor ready. So we walked downstairs, a lot of old Dells like that, and they haven't been, seen the light of day in a while, and we had to boot them up. And if they didn't work, we had to re-image them. So I would spend like a week just re-imaging all of the darn machines, getting all the applications back on. And of course, they never use them. But it was you spend half your life down there, but but nobody ever really used because the storm didn't hit. Nobody really wanted to work during the outages, stuff like that. So it's fun though, but it's definitely a good learning experience.
Yeah, and like I said, it's to be honest with people, like, I don't want to scare them with this, because imaging is there. The people are gonna. This is such a. I don't know what's about this term. People ask this, like they ask, even though if it's an entry level, they like to just ask about. Do you know about imaging? Right? It's something in there about it. Maybe it makes IT manager look cool, or I don't know what's there, but they ask this question.
Or SSCM. SSCM's another one. How do you image your SSCM?
Oh yeah, or SCCM. And I already talked about SCCM, like why. I'm not going to teach about SCCM, but there you go. You got a lab out there, right? And what is the more important thing about SCCM? I show that. But I want you guys to see something here. Look at my hair right now.
See where you are.
That's what I wanted to mention.
I'm about to sing songs, whatever you want to do. The Madison Baddest is back again with the water saying, remember the dude who married? Okay, look at my hair right here. So,
Where's your hair? No.
so this is what actually tries and error his channel. He came in, he was like, Danish used to be fun before. Danish is no more fun anymore. I used to watch his videos and he used to be so live and he used to be singing songs, and he's not doing this anymore. So okay, that was just for a fun part right here. But that tells you right there that if for example you guys want to learn anything that maybe is considered an entry level skill, or maybe like that, or maybe even a little bit sysadmin stuff, you should always put JavaScript with a term, and then you can always use this guy right here. And he's someone like I know from from a very long time. KevTech, I'm not sure if he covered any imaging, but I'm sure he probably have a lot of stuff in there too. So if you just type some of his stuff right here, then he has a bunch of videos. And actually he did a video right now recently, like why imaging is important, right? You did some interview question kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So definitely watch his channel too with this kind of stuff. Like that combination that I'm showing you right now is extremely good for learning, by the way. Okay, so that's kind of like I start with the free stuff right there too, because
can we? I'm not interrupt you, but can we watch that imaging video and learn how to sing like you?
later on.
Got it.
All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show, because I know I have a lot of premium members too, and they'll be like, hey, what's up? What about us? We're paying over here, man. Come on. So if you come over here, we have 3,000 plus videos about labs, right? And I'm gonna actually show full video today about WDS today in this session, and I'm just going to play it and we're going to talk about it. So if you come over here and you're the member of JavaScript Share and look at this 3,900 plus video, you're going to come over here and all you got to do is this right here. Just type image. Just type image over here and you're going to find a bunch of videos about every type of imaging. It doesn't matter what you're looking at, single image, this image, that image, and it tells you exactly which course it's belonged to. You can go back to practice lab and actually go to the same module and do it practically, not just watching a video. You can actually go back and do the same thing practically if you're a premium member right now. And if you're interested in WDS, which I'm going to show a video right now, but you can also just come over here and you feel like, man, I really like WDS stuff. Just type WDS over here. And now you got a whole WDS videos right there. That's if you feel like, you want to go to that level of, I don't like what you say. Like right now, I know you're saying that it's not important for me, but I'm going to job and they're asking me this stuff. So Danish, how about I just learn it and I do it? Then you come over here and you type that and you go to the practice lab right here and go to the practice lab and do it. Actually, I cannot get more practical than that, right? I cannot give you more practical or realistic answer than that you have to really do this to learn this, because imaging is all about practice. You got to practice it. You got to come across some errors. Maybe the disk format didn't connect it correctly. Sometimes you will not even find C drive in there. Sometimes you'll try to image it and there's no C. There's no C available. There's no a disk available. Correcting that. There's no disk available. Then how do you fix all of these things? That's kind of like something that you need to come across. And most of these issues, to be honest, is not in the trainings. Why? Because there could be like a gazillion amount of errors that can come across. And how do you fix it? Maybe one or two, I already showed that, but I will not be able to cover Windows errors right here. There are millions and millions of errors right there. That's impossible, right? So that's something you're going to rely on. What then? You're going to rely on your Google skills. You're going to go out there and you're going to go to Google and you're going to find that error and fix it. Yeah. So what I'm going to do right now is from that WDS, I am going to actually play a video that is paid for our members, but I'm going to play it right here because this is recently done by one of our instructor. And while I'm doing it, maybe we can talk about it, why WDS is being used. So here's a little theoretical understanding of this also, just so people understand that WDS is not just a kind of like a tool that you grab a whole image and put it out there. You can do that. But most of the time, WDS is used you are deploying an operating system. You go to the machines, you do Pixie, and it basically picks up the installations, and you can even automate it more after that. And that is where I say, and Steven is saying, and Kev is saying that your skill level will just drop right there. Why? Because now you are relying on automation, to scripting, and even before that, did your pool, did your DHCP, all that kind of stuff worked or not, right? So that is what I'm just gonna show you a full flow of a whole video, and we can talk about it. So it gives you a little bit practical example, and then we will do a one on a VMware. We're going to implement a kind of like a free solution, not free solution, actually managed engine solution, which is very much being used by a lot of companies. We're going to actually deploy their solution as well. Maybe we may not be able to complete it, but let's see. So I want to first check out that. Can you guys hear the voice right here? So when I say play, can you guys all hear his voice?
This, and then
Yes.
you will see those modules, and this sixth one, manage operating system images with Windows deployment services. So click to open, and once you click it starts, so then after you will find those devices here, and in this lab we're going to need the two of those devices, the PLAB DC01 and the PLAB DM01.
Okay, so here I wanted to stop this right here, and I'm going to add in the middle. You see how he says there's a PLAB DC01 and there's a PLAB DM right there. And that, what is he talking about? So there's already a solution implemented for this type of stuff. What is that? DC
Virtualization.
Is no, virtualization.
The domain controller.
Domain controller. So imagine if you didn't know about domain controllers, you really can't do this, right? Because it's connected. Even though WDS can be deployed on a single server like a standalone, but most of the time when you go to the company, a domain controller is already implemented. So this is why if a brand new person is watching this free session today, then where do you go back? You have to go back where we started like 30 days ago.
Active Directory.
Yeah, but remember we have 30 days ago, we've been doing 3-4 hours every day. So it's injustice to us too, right? Like if you're going to look at this and like, what is he talking about? DC? Oh my God, I forgot that DC Active Directory. Then you got to go back, right? And you're going to come back all the way down from that first videos, and then it will make more sense. So let me just start playing.
So I click to power on both these devices, and then I'll show you how you can configure WDS and then how it will start installation by means of network. So first we will start from the PLAB DC01 machine, and that is currently wait to log on. Now there we go. We got this desktop and now this dashboard of the server manager. So I'm gonna click to the tools, and the same first I will do configurations with the DHCP and alter its function to provide IPs to both Windows-based machine and the bare metal machine. Those doesn't have the operating system, just only have the hardware. So here I'm resizing it, then click to the PLAB DC01, then IPv4, and there you go. We have this scope, and let me expand this.
Who would do this kind of job, by the way? Anybody? Who would implement this?
Like a sysadmin.
Sysadmin, perfect.
Oh.
Now I'm gonna right click to the scope and right click to activate, and there you go, it is activated. And then we need to do some little changes in the configuration. So right click on the same scope, and this property dialog box will appear on the screen. Switch to this advanced tab and make check on both, because our intention is what? To make our DHCP server to provide IP to both sort of machines. Now there, we're done with the DHCP configuration. So then close this DHCP manager. Then again, we're going to open the tools and locate the WDS Windows Deployment Services.
Okay, so if somebody is new, I want to ask them a question that, will that services show up on a normal server, like as soon as you install the server, or do you have to do something for that services to show up there?
Yeah, you need to install them.
You got to install them, right?
Through tools.
Through what?
Through manage or tools?
Through manage. Okay. Tools is whenever you add something to a server, it always show up in tools.
Oh yes,
anytime you want to add something, okay. Just want to add
there it is.
Okay.
Now I'm going to expand the server and further expand it, but currently there's no configuration for the Windows deployment services, so I'm going to right click there to configure server, and then just click next as we're going with the Active Directory.
So in a WDS, like I said, you can integrate it with what? Active Directory, which most of the people will do. And you can also run this as a standalone server, meaning if you have a server normally running in your network and you don't have Active Directory, you can actually use this for that kind of, for that purpose, because not everybody, I mean, most of the people may have Active Directory, but there are offices and businesses that don't have Active Directory, right?
Directory, we're not creating a standalone WDS. So click next and change its directory to the D, because it is a recommendation to do other stuff with your secondary drive, secondary partition, so which is the D currently. Then click next, go with the same. And here, the important thing during this WDS configuration, make check on the third one, respond to all client computers, known and unknown, you know, because those machines are some that those have the operating system are brought under the known category, and some which doesn't have any operating system are.
This is a common issue with the WDS, that if you keep it very secure in when you are doing deployments are very sensitive, right? Then, you know, when you boot a machine and there's an issue with it, you can't get it. It's not, the Mac is not getting connected or something like that. There's some weird issues. So a lot of people, when they do deployments, they'll do deployments, but at the same time, they will be making more secure by turning it off, meaning your Pixie boot will not be available just for anybody to just Pixie to it, right? That's just bad, right? If you have a Pixie server running 24/7, somebody comes to your office and just like Pixie something, right? That's not gonna work in most of the environment. But when they do their job, usually they'll go and turn it off, the services. Okay?
Are brought in unknown category, and our intentions, our top priority are those machines that doesn't have the operating system. So we will check on the third one and then click next. And there you go. Service has been created but not yet started. So right click on the server, go to the all task, and then click to start. And it is started just in a glimpse. Now first we need to add the image and then the boot file. Image is what? It is your operating system, which one you want to install on your bare metal machines like Windows 7, 10, whatever you want to install. So right click there and go to add install image, and this is the name of this image. We're going with the defaults, and here we need to provide a network location for that, because this image is currently located in PLAB DM01. So PLAB DM01 / and that's the Windows 10, and then sources, this is another directory.
All right, the reason I'm stopping in the middle is because a lot of the people are entry level. If you didn't know about sharing and how to access a share skills before this video, would this path makes any sense to you, right? If you have never seen a / in your life, that's why the file sharing videos are important. So if people are watching this and they're like extremely getting annoyed with this, what is this //? How is he getting to that? This means you're lacking a very basic skill, right, Kev? Like, that is why we start with our basic videos to all the way to file sharing, and then all these videos make sense now. That's why I'm adding these tips in the middle. I know it's a little annoying for some people, but
and /
I gotta remind them.
install.vim. Vim is the abbreviation of Windows image. And now click next. And there you go, it detected. And then click next, and now it's gonna add this Windows image to the WDS, and you know the location of that file is PLAB DM01. So there is whole network involvement during end-to-end installation. So in a while it's gonna complete, so we need to wait. Now it is adding this image to the WDS, and we're gonna wait until it gets completed. Then we will move to the boot image, and then we will add the boot image file. And the last phase is to just check on our bare metal machine that is currently our virtual machines. So we're gonna wait. Now here I'm gonna click finish to end this process, and same thing we will repeat here with the boot image. And here we need to provide the same network location but different with the file name: plab dm01 backslash win10 backslash sources, then backslash boot.vim. And now it also detected, and then click next, and it will also add with your WDS server. And then we're done with this whole WDS configuration, and click finish. Now after that we will directly move to the plab dm01, the machine, the server which have the hypervisor Hyper-V that contain the virtual machines. So on this lab, on this training, we are offering you this testing on the virtual machine, but in real scenario you have machines on the network. You just only need to push to post your bare metal machines, and then it will automatically detect the IP. It will automatically obtain the IP from the DHCP, and then it will proceed the installation process. So let us wait until the server manager gets completely open. And now here I'm gonna click to the tools, and there you go, Hyper-V manager. Click to it, and then I just need to make little changes with my virtual machine before proceeding the installation. So here I have these multiple machines, and I will do this testing on my plab SA02 machine. And here first I will go to the setting of this machine, and here we already have this network adapter, the thing I mentioned in the training too, that these network adapter are not capable of getting IP address just right after the post when you push the button of your CPU. So we need to add that kind of adapter that are capable of getting IP from the DHCP once the push was done on the CPU. So here I'm gonna remove this adapter, and I click on the remove button, and then I will quickly jump to the hardware, and here you can see the legacy network adapter. These are the adapters, those have the capability to request IP address once you push the power button of your CPU, and then it is added. Then I will eliminate this ROM activity from here because it contains the ISO image, so I just make it none, so it will not look for the DVD drive to boot. And then I'm gonna click apply, OK, and now we're gonna verify, hold this WDS thing, and I'm gonna click to the start button. This is the same as I'm pressing the power on button of my CPU, pushing that button, all the same. And now just on this lab environment I need to press F12 to make our machine to get IP from the DHCP, and now you can see it got the IP, and this is 0.203.
So where did it get the IP address from? Remember, you guys added that, right? That's why the services got started, DHCP got added, pool got added, and this machine was told to go and start yourself from network. And then when it goes out there, it says, who is providing me this stuff? And it got connected, right? And now the server's talking.
This is the IP it got from the DHCP, and now it is contacting to the TFTP server and downloading the files from there.
There you go.
And now the boot.vim file come in action, and it is booting your machine to the Windows installation image, and that's the whole thing, and we are just
So to be
close
honest,
to
after
the
this, what is happening
installation
is getting
now
the
to
files,
launch network.
going to the windows, and look at this, the
that
whole window started right there, right? So the purpose of this is that if you have this implemented, Vilad or anybody, you have 50 machines, you can quickly boot them to F12 and then go drink a tea after that, right? If you can even make it more automated after that, changing a name, joining it to a domain, all that kind of stuff can happen. And that's where we talked about like why you're going to need those type of skills. But what he did in virtualization, how he changed stuff, exactly how you guys are going to be doing it at work. You're going to plug in, you're going to not plug in anything actually. You're going to plug in the Ethernet so it has connection, right? You're going to hit the F12 on this machine and you're going to pick what? The network, right? The network boot, right?
Network.
You're going to pick that and then boom, your computer would start. If you don't see that,
Very simple.
if that doesn't come up in there, if you don't see the network, this means it's disabled from your BIOS. So you have to go to your BIOS to turn on this type of feature inside your computer. Is there anything else you want to add, KevTech? Am I correct with this stuff?
No, you're absolutely correct. And depending on the computer you have, you might have to enable AHCI, the SATA settings. You might have to change some settings in the BIOS, change the boot sequence that it boots on Pixie. And that's it. That's pretty much it. You're absolutely on point with that. So,
all right. Thanks so much. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you guys a lab where we can touch up something, you know, maybe we can do a lab here. So
Danish, got a question for you.
yes.
Basically, WDS, when you install that service, is it like an AKA turn it into a TFTP server? Kind of a little bit,
because it had when you say that service, right? When you start the service,
right?
At that moment, if you go back, I don't have it right now, but if you go back, there is an option. Remember, we talked about if you go back in the services, there are actually different type of services. What kind of service do you want to use? Boot P and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So it depends on what kind of service you have to pick. And then also, one thing maybe he didn't show is you have to actually go to the DHCP and you have to actually go in there and you have to actually, I think it's 64, 67 in a DHCP or DNS. I forgot. I mean, I haven't done this for a long time. So you have to actually go in there. You have to actually put the value in there for it to work, like how it goes on and say, okay, my TFTP will not work if the TFTP doesn't get that value from your Pixie, right? So you go to the DHCP, there's actually an option right there. So I don't know exactly where that option is. Maybe we'll find it next time, but yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
Because that's what, remember he said that he's going to pick up the TFTP in there. And that's where, when he turned that services on, that's where it says, okay, I'm gonna start kicking in now.
Because that's when when you do Pixie, it usually reaches out to a TFTP server.
Yeah. Like I can show. Are you guys seeing my screen? I can actually.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pull up this. Steven, are you watching my screen?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you guys another tool right here. We're not gonna go through this tool because this tool is an open source tool. So here's the thing: a lot of people say, why are you talking too much about open source tools all the time? The reason I go for tools like this, Steven, is that they teach us a lot more than anybody else. Why is this person developed this tool, right? So this person's documentation is going to be valuable for me to learn about imaging. Does that make sense? So if I come to, let's say, this documentation and I click on introduction right here, this person has shown all about, okay, what is clone, what it is, what is not, all that kind of stuff. But then he goes into a lot about explaining images and how images works and what is the difference between cloning. So coming back to the question of where we need to do that installation is if you go to the install on Windows with automated installer, there is a prerequisite for proxy stuff. So client boot method, let me go in there. There you go. So it is there you go, it's right here. Did you see this right here? This is on a DHCP server level. So you have to go to your DHCP scopes, go to the configure options, Steven, and here is the options that you need to be putting in. So select option 66 and select option 67. And that is what makes it do the Pixie stuff. Does that make sense?
Okay. So when the option like 67 is like DHCP. Right.
Yeah, it's in the DHCP. Yeah, you have like a different type of when you go to DHCP and you go to configuration, it goes by like numbers, right? So you can even change your DNS over there. You can change a lot of different things over there. And all these 67, 66 is actually made for this kind of stuff, the Pixie stuff.
And also too, says WDS just use WIM files, or can you use other files, or is the WIM files kind of like what they use?
Mostly I use WIM. I don't know if I have ever used something else.
Okay.
And how do you create WIM? Somebody asked me the question. It's a pretty long process, right? You're gonna create the source first. You have to go in there, you have to edit, and you have to use special tools to get things added to it if you want to customize your image. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you get the WIM files off of Microsoft's?
I think so.
Site?
The email.
I mean, they have like ISOs.
I'm sure you can get it from ISOs. I don't think you can directly download it. I have not done this for a long time, so I don't know if they're still doing it. But ISO is going to be the part where you go to that source SXX file or something like that, right? You go in there and you grab that file from there. Yes.
All right.
So,
thanks.
yeah, and then that's where a lot of people will be like, okay, if you look at it, I was doing this like on a daily basis for probably 5 or 6 years ago, Stephen, in my Kev. So you look at it, why I would probably leave this kind of solution is because it's not something that you would implement in a business where like they have 300 machines and it's not used like, okay, I have 60 labs or 60, 70 labs to do. If I don't have that kind of request, then I don't need this kind of process, right? I'm going to go for something more robust or maybe something more modern, I would say, because that may give me a better solutions out there. Does that make sense? So a lot of people use these type of solutions. And that's why I said in the beginning, if somebody is interested in this and you get stuck with a company that tells you that you do need to use a WDS and you feel like you really need to learn it because it hits all these areas right here for WDS and for other type of areas that are using Windows Server, then of course you need to learn about these things at a more higher level. And that's where you got to get out of your comfort zone or that thinking that maybe, you know what, I should go and start learning about servers. And where do you learn it from? Our platform, you go to Practice Lab and just pick on most of the latest servers like 2016, but 2012 is still a very valid server. Trust me, how many companies are still on 2012? It will blow your mind right now. We just moved some of the companies from 2003 and 2008 servers. So you can imagine how companies are moving right now. If you feel like there's a 2019 server, that does not mean people are on 2019 server right now. That just came up. Okay. So 2012 is very much in use right now, heavily, right? So you can go and pick up a 2012 labs, and they're all together, by the way. If you pick up, let's say, for example, you want to learn about 2012 and you come over here, let me see where they are right now. So let's say right here. So these are the certification from the back, right? 410, 411, 412. So if you do these in a row, you're going to learn a lot about 2012. So if you want to do 2016, it's going to be also in a row like that. And if you come over here, let's say, for example, this one right here, I guess, identity one. Sorry, where is that? Either they put it up sometimes or down. I'm kind of like losing it. I should have it here somewhere. Oh, there you go. Oh, there. Okay. 4142, 40, 41, 42 right here. Does that make sense? And some people really ask me sometimes, I really want to learn about Active Directory at the very advanced level. So this guy is made for you, okay? Identity with Windows. So if you really do this kind of lab, to be honest, I feel like you're on a different level if you can do this kind of stuff. But why would you do it? If you are working in an environment that requires stuff like that. Yesterday, I did a meeting with somebody and the person was saying that they are doing a lot of Active Directory stuff. I have to understand Active Directory on premises with connections to the AD sync on a cloud and everything like that. I need to understand all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, if you want to learn about the on-premises stuff, then stick to the 2016 and finish this whole thing off and stick to it. Stick to it. Do not go outside. You don't try to learn everything at one time. It's not going to work for you. So that's going to be my suggestion for people because they're listening to us and we're like, okay, we're going a little bit off with servers and everything, but they're like, okay, where do I learn this? Here you go. There's a place for you. So what I wanted to do today is maybe I'll kick off something. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to complete this or not. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, we have to see if in a live training, live sessions, it's always like, it's a game of, is it going to work or is it not going to work? So let me go ahead and minimize this and get started on. So let me get the password. in this lab, what we're going to do is we're going to implement a solution of just like what we have learned from WDS. But WDS, we learned that we have deployed actually operating systems for installation, but it was still not a full-blown image, right? It was not like a full image being done and everything like that. So first of all, if you guys are listening to me from the first few minutes, and I talked about, somebody asked me about virtual, like, how does it do, like, how do you do this kind of stuff in a virtual environment? I think I already shown this before, but I'll just show it to you quickly. What I mean by images, like when you are considering virtualization. Remember, in virtual environment, we don't do a deployments to another virtual machine. This just doesn't make sense, right? Like, you may need it. I don't know if you want to deploy like another 20 virtual machines, but why would you do it when you can do it for PowerShell, right? I mean, that just doesn't make sense. You would need another tool to do virtual type of stuff, where virtualization itself, it gives you ability from PowerShell or from VMware. It has own CLI, and you can deploy a lot of things like that, right? So it doesn't make sense. But if you're doing a lab environment, here's a good tip I can give you, and a technique that you can make your life easy when you do virtualization stuff. Like, for example, KevTech is teaching today, and he created 2 machines. But will he start creating machines again and again and again and again for these type of training? And that will be a little tedious, right? So I'm going to show you, if you go to Monica's machine, let's say Monica machines, we spend about 2-3 hours, right? And I go to Monica's machine and I spend 2-3 hours. Now this machine is already joined to a domain, so not a good example, but still I'll do it. So let's say you go to this machine and, oh my God, if I can remember the password now. Okay. So you did all the setup on this machine and everything is done. So remember I talked about in the beginning, I was talking about Sysprep information, like Sysprep, why it is important for Sysprep. Sysprep is nothing big, right? It's a part of the Windows, and you are generalizing the whole window. And my technique when I do labs, because I offer what? I offer all these servers to all of my live members. So I got to understand this stuff, make my life very easy. I cannot be doing this kind of stuff every single day and reinstalling the Windows from scratch. That's gonna blow my mind, right? So what I do is this, and this also implies to Hyper-V, and it also can be implied to vSphere, or it can be also implied to VirtualBox. So how do I do this? You just simply go to the machine, and you are an admin, and you've done your work, but don't join it to the domain yet, because that's where you are out above imaging. You're gone from the imaging then. So what should I do right here? Any of my live members, do you guys know how to do a Sysprep? Anyone know how to do a Sysprep?
I don't know.
Come on, my live members, I think you guys did this. Or didn't? I don't remember. How do I do Sysprep? Anyone in the chat? It's very simple, right? It's a part of operating system. So what you got to do is simply go to run and type what? Sysprep and enter. And when I look at this, it's a part of Windows. You don't need to install anything. It comes with it. Does anybody know how many times you can do Sysprep? That's something very unique, right? I mean, that's something I didn't know till I got into a trouble. You can only do 8 times, unless it got changed with Windows 10. I don't remember, but you can only do it 8 times. So I don't know if you guys know about Steven and KevTech. So if you do it more than 8 times, then it will. I think it won't be able to do it. Like, you have to redo the whole image again. You have to reinstall the whole operating system again, and then you will do the 8 times again. So you can only do Sysprep on one machine, on one image, 8 times. So this means you can go into this machine and you can do all your stuff. One time you did a Sysprep and you have that customizations and applications in there, right? You went back again in there and you did it again 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 8 times, and that's it, you're done. So you cannot use that same image after that. So, but the thing is this, how many times do we go and do Sysprep? We only do it 1 or 2 times, most likely, right? We don't mess with the same golden image again and again and again and again, right? Most likely we do that, right? So what we're gonna do is right here, we're gonna right click over here and we're going to do run as administrator. And look at this right here. This is a very important key right here before you waste your time. If you do not look at this information and you click OK, if you click on generalize right here and look at the top one, enter system out of the box experience, right? Another one is audit mode. I never use that. This is the one that I'm interested in. But if you do reboot, then what will happen again?
So I guess it will delete SSID.
If you do reboot, what will happen again?
It will delete SSID, no? I mean, like, it will wipe it, like, for the new ones, or, I mean, identification code.
Exactly. Look, if you wanna, let's say I wanna make this a golden image. So sometimes, like for example, this is a manual imaging, by the way. I'm gonna give you an example why imaging is so good. If let's say I wanna give this lab to another 15 people. What like, okay, let's change it a little. Let's say KevTech is my student, right? And I tell KevTech that you're gonna need to install, or you're gonna need to install another 10 Windows 10 machines, right? Would I go for a shutdown option or would I go for a reboot option? There's two options. What makes sense to you guys? If I have to give this to KevTech that he has to use an image for another 10 machines, would I go for a restart option or would I go for a shutdown option?
I think restart is better solution.
So if you restart the machine, remember when you restart the machine, what is it going to tell you? Give it what? Give it a computer name, give it a username. Then you went back to 0 again, right? Right? That's not an image anymore. You just generalized this machine. That's it. You just sysprepped it. Now, reboot will be an option when. Remember, if you do a mistake on a server, let's say you grab the same server image and you installed it and you're trying to add it to a domain, a server will tell you exactly like this, that, okay, there's a duplicate SSID available inside Active Directory. I'm not going to be able to join myself to the domain. So when would you fix that issue? How would you fix that issue? You're going to run a sysprep on that server and you're going to restart the server. So that server will get what? A new IDs in there, right? So that issue is resolved now. Now, if you ever come across an issue where you deployed, let's say 100 machines or 100 machines out in an environment, and you come across this issue where it says that we have a duplicate ID, then that's the fix. You're going to run a command on all these machines, a sysprep command, and just sysprep them. That's the only fix, right? Because you got a duplicate thing going on right there. Okay, now if I want to use this as a, I think Jerry, maybe KevTech can give you the link. So if you want to use this as an image Vilad, and I want him to implement another 10 machines, I need to shut this machine down. This machine cannot come back up again. So if I do shut down now, watch, I'm going to do shutdown, and it's going to start cleaning up the process that started right now. So what will happen right now is that this machine is going to go down, and now I have this VHD, whatever that is, the file is in the VMware, and that's the file that I need now. I will not touch that file, by the way. That's my golden image. So I'm going to use that, but I'm going to always use a copy of that file. So while this is getting stopped and everything is happening, I'm just going to close this. It's already running. Where would you place this in this kind of tip that I'm giving you? You're going to create a new folder right here. You're going to say what? You're going to say copy from here. This is very important right here. If you do not name your folder that way, this means one day you're going to use the same image and you lost your master image. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, for sure.
So when that machine turns down and it's off right now, then what will happen? You're going to click on this Monica machine and you're going to right click this. And what do? Copy this. You're going to copy this machine. And once you copy it, you're going to place it in where? You're going to place it in this copy from here. So what will happen in this case, this VHD file, this VMDK file is going to go right here. So now if you have to install new machine, how quickly can you make new machine, by the way? I can say what? I can say kev1 here. Actually not here, maybe at the root
just
level.
copy and paste.
Yeah, I can do that. But Kev 1, Kev 2, Kev 3, and then what I would do, copy and paste, copy and paste. I'm going to put all these. So imagine in virtualization, I made, how much time did I save right now? I'm just going to go to the virtual machines, and then do I have to install a brand new hard disk, or do I need to add the hard disk? Oh, sorry, the virtual, I always forget the name of this. Hold on, let me see. The VMDK file. So do I need to reinstall all this again and again, or I just attach this VMDK file?
No, you should just drag and drop it. I mean, like copy it.
Copy it, but when you go to the virtualization and you're trying to now, for example, I did the copy right now. If I need to install this without spending another 4 hours, I'm going to click next over here and I'm going to say Kev 1 right now, right? And then I'm going to pick the machine, Windows, and I'm going to say, okay, this is what? Windows 10, right? This 10, and I'm going to come over here, and then maybe I'll pick the thing right now. So should I proceed more over here when it comes to imaging, or should I stop over here? What should I do?
Guess you need to choose that hard drive or to just copy and paste.
Exactly, but what should you do over here? Because remember, it has already a fresh hard disk right here.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna basically remove
cancel it. Okay.
Simple. And you add the hard disk, and look at this.
Okay, existing okay.
Hard disk, and you just basically copy from here, add another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, and you got like 10 machines, like in what? In 15 minutes. And that's worth of the amount of work that you have done on each machine is like 4 hours, right? So in 15 minutes, you have 5 machines that you spend 4 hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when it comes to even making more automated, yes, you can have even a PowerShell script on a Hyper-V or a VMware in CLI. You can create a template already and tell the template to pick all of these hard disks from these folders, and in one shot you can have it. Maybe later on we'll do that too, if that makes more sense. So imagine if we have that kind of ability, when we have one script that can grab a file and instantly you get all of these machines in 5 minutes. In virtualization, you can make your life like that easy. Do you want to say something, Stephen?
Okay, I'm kind of confused a little bit. So the Sysprep is creating a WIM image?
No.
No.
The Sysprep is removing IDs. It's like generalizing the machine. So for example, Stephen, when you buy a machine from, let's say Best Buy or Dell, right? Okay. What happens in the beginning? It's never rebooted, right? It's like, that's the first time when you boot the machine, what happens in the beginning? It says, give a computer first administrator name.
Okay.
That's not a Vim or anything. That's just already, a machine is already installed already. Everything is done, right? It already detected the hard disk. It already know that I'm a Windows 10 operating system. All that stuff is done, right?
Right.
So when it starts, as soon as it hit that point right from after boot, what happens after boot? It says that, okay, I am Windows 10. I need an ID. Okay, I got the ID, right? The first IDs, right? The normal, there's a lot of different IDs, right? There are sys IDs. There are certain accounts that we don't even know. You go to the hidden site, you will see most of these Windows accounts. And when you go to the first screen, what does it ask you? That add a domain, admin account, local admin account, right?
Right.
So as soon as you hit that, that's a very unique ID to that computer. It connects. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So that ID is given to that computer, that MAC address, everything is done, everything is connected, right?
Okay.
So that what happened is that if you join that machine to the Active Directory, because of the Active Directory, the way it works is databases, right? It has its own database, right? And then it says that I know this IP address, or I know this MAC address, this guy with this unique identification number, that is the machine that I am basically going to give all these services out. But when you do Sysprep, Stephen, it generalizes that. It removes all of these IDs at that boot level. Because every time you do a reboot on a Sysprep, but you're back again to 0, right? Because it got all the ID addresses again, right?
So the Sysprep just goes like, when you're running it now, it's going to go in and it's going to remove stuff. So you have 8 times to remove all the stuff, and then basically 8 times and you're out, right? It's kind of like
you have 8 times to do the Sysprep command, yes.
But what happens on the 9th time?
I feel like after that, I'm never going to that far, but I think it says that it won't do it. Like it won't do a Sysprep after that. It will say that you need a new, I think the 8th time that whatever you got is going to be the last one, I guess. You need to create a new operating system after that.
Okay, so the simplest way to somebody, well, that's kind of learning this, I guess, is system preparation. So that's what Sysprep stands for.
Sysprep.
Right?
And what does it say right there? Like when we were doing Sysprep, out of the box experience.
Right. So when you first bought it from Best Buy or whatever, you go and you buy your things on Amazon, you bring it home, you plug it in. And then first of all, the first thing you see, well, the Sysprep is already run by the factory already.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they're sending you to just like that.
Okay.
Because they don't want to add their own ID, because people be like, why did you do that? I didn't expect that from Dell. Oh, Dell got their own user right there. Who's gonna log into that now?
And then you would think it's already been bought already, and people have just put it back without
exactly. Like I'll show you right now. Like we just started Monica's machine. Now Monica's machine was on a domain, which is a very bad practice if you have to do a Sysprep on a domain machine. Doesn't make sense, right? You have to remove the machine from the domain to work group and then Sysprep it.
I never, in all my years, I mean, I never did that to a corporate machine. We just re-image.
Okay.
I mean, I never did that. I mean, unless it's done in smaller businesses.
No,
I've never seen that done.
So here's the thing. A lot of people don't really two things. I'm not gonna say don't know about it, but this is a stuff that is used to be very tedious in XP's world. You have to do a lot of configuration. So go back to YouTube videos and say Sysprep on XP, and you're gonna find like a humongous amount of information about how to do a Sysprep. It's not that easy. It's not like you just type it in and everything is done. So one thing is that it's gonna develop a skill that why should I do this if I'm not having any issues? So I'll tell you where the issue really comes over here, right? A lot of people start looking at these issues when an application was dependent on a specific unique IDs and it has to connect to Active Directory. So a lot of these applications they stop working. But so the thing is this, Stephen, maybe in your life, in your experience, you don't have that kind of applications. Maybe there are normal generic applications that you never came across the issues. And maybe there were issues that it never matters to you. Does that make sense? Maybe you were never seen those type of issues. Does that make sense? Because if you had those type of issues, some of errors are coming in your event viewer. Event viewer is full of errors, but it's just not impacting you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, how many in your past 5 years of your experience, how many times have you run Sysprep?
So when I learned about Sysprep that it's a required option, and it's actually a recommended option from all these tools that I'm implementing. Like I'll show you Clone Deploy, and they have the suggestion right there. You must Sysprep it. You must do this. You must do this, right? So I learned it from this type of tools because when I came across it, like, okay, why is that a problem? So then of course I got into more sysadmin side, which you all know, and that's where I couldn't do a domain join even in one of my lab. I forgot, right? I couldn't join a machine to a domain, and it made me crazy, right, Stephen? Like I was using sconfig for joining a computer to a domain, which is a command line, right? Like you go to sconfig and say, do you want to join this community? And it would never give you that error, Stephen. It will say that machine cannot be joined to a domain. I'm like scratching my head. The hell is wrong with this machine, right?
Does it also rip out the user SID in the registry, like the user profile? Does it rip all that stuff out?
It doesn't remove the user profile, but it will remove the SID and we'll give it a new IDs in there.
Okay, so all the user stuff is still in their documents and
that's why you're Sysprepping a machine that you want to use as deployment on a new bare metal hardware now.
So the Sysprep kind of works down to the registry area.
Exactly. And it will also remove your keys too. So you got here's another thing why a lot of people, and I'm sure you guys have done it in a more professional way and everything, but I know for sure that so many companies also use images because they want you to keep the same key. And that's not proper, right? You know that. We all know that. That's not proper way. You got to have the key that is you bought it from Microsoft that you can use it on multiple machines. Now, Microsoft doesn't work that way in most of the cases. You got to buy a license per machine, right? Most of the time. Kev knows that. You know that, right?
Right. Yeah, that's the way we do it. Yeah.
If a lot of people have done it that way too, that's because they just did something that's not supposed to be done. Does that make sense? So if you have that kind of license, then yeah. But I still feel, think about it. You guys have worked in IT. Just think about it. If you have the exact copy and you put it on an exact machines and everything, and it has everything's the same, exact. You know, in networking, when there is a same IP address, what happens?
Conflict.
A conflict. Yes.
A conflict.
IP conflict.
So does my example make sense to you? If you have exact same machine and it has all these IDs that are the same, then at some point, if you are going to come across a very technical type of issue that you just can't figure out, that means that maybe the process was not done properly from the day one, right? Because once you deploy an image, the one we are talking about without sysprepping, then yes, you can go with it for a long time. But I'm just talking about that one issue that you're going to come across in your network, and you may spend huge amount of time because you realize that, oh, that was not Sysprep. That's the issue with that. I mean, the thing is this, am I going to, as a sysadmin or as a network engineer, am I going to say, KevTech or Vilad, go and redo the whole process again, redo everything? Right? That doesn't happen. We're just going to let it go, right? So we're not going to do that. We're not going to come back and fix the whole thing. But maybe if this is a new batch coming, I'll probably definitely tell my people that, hey, guys, I think you guys should invest in sysprepping the machine, because tomorrow it may not be just your issue. It may be ours issues too. It may be an application we deploy as whatever level, and now that application is having issue, and I don't have no other way to fix it. So who am I going to talk to then, right? I have to work with my team then, right?
Also, too, when you say the IDs, you're talking about the security identifiers for these applications,
Exactly.
Or
exactly.
is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
So look in front of you. What happened now? This is exactly same Monica's machine, right? So it gives you the same out of the box experience, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Why when you go to a Best Buy or when you buy a product from a second-hand machines, what do? They sysprep it.
Interesting. I never really knew that. That's very. I'm gonna test the heck out of that on my virtual machine.
Yeah.
Or you could be like me, where I was doing help desk, and the sysadmin didn't test anything, and he implemented SSCM on a computer, and we had a bunch of Dell computers, and then when he did that, the computer turns out the image was not compatible with Bloomberg keyboards. I'm not sure if you guys know what that is. It's a financial keyboard, and they had to use a Bloomberg terminal for financial applications. And then when you plug the keyboard, it will blue screen the whole computer after imaging it on SSCM. And then he got in trouble. So
yeah,
that's another good question there. What about if BitLocker is turned on? Can you run that?
I've never actually tried that. Now, the BitLocker is not my area, by the way. That's something.
Will that make it go blue screen? Because if you do this,
I don't think you can do a sysprep if it's BitLocker, because it's running even at the boot level. So I don't know how that's going to be happening.
Yeah.
I don't think that can happen unless you have a key or something. Maybe we'll like boot up and say, oh, we need that key, right?
Okay.
I feel like maybe that's something. Somebody actually asked me before this too. Hey, if we have a BitLocker, how do I do this right here? This PC, I was doing a password reset, and if there's a password reset that we can do right now with this USB, which is a higher boot CD, I'm sure you know about it, right? Higher boot CD, you plug it in, you reset. But if I have a BitLocker, I don't know if that's really possible. We should actually test it one day.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be a pretty good test to see if it actually blue screens or it gives you the BitLocker screen, which you got to put in the actual key to unlock it.
I have a good feeling that it's not going to work, but I haven't done that. So
because you would figure it would have to decrypt that drive unless it resets that key. But yeah, that would be a very interesting test.
Yeah. So again, after this, for example, if I'm going to close this right now. So in virtualization, when I do my trainings and everything, this is a technique that I use because I want to make sure the server that people are going to be using, the domain is always my one image that I'm using, right? It's copied over to all these vSpheres that I have. I have a bunch of vSpheres. There's the same image that it's implemented in all these different servers, right? So I'm not going to be crazy enough to just come here and in each vSphere, I'm going to be running a same domain controller, installing everything from scratch. That's gonna probably, I'll just leave training. I'll just run away from here, right? I won't do trainings anymore. So of course, this is a real example of, because I'm running a platform. You can see this is a practical example for me. If my help desk is working for me right now, he or she has to actually do this part. So that's something you can understand, and why, if you go to other companies, they may have a similar type of processes, and you have to understand how to do this. But at the same time, I'm going to be teaching my help desk how to do this, because I know the techniques that works perfectly for these labs. Does that make sense? Right? Because that's how a company will also implement their machines and everything. So if I go to Steven's company or I go to KevTech company, there is no way for me to understand their imaging by myself. Even though you may think, oh, Danish, aren't you draining us? I'm like, no, dude, that's not how it works in IT. They have a different infrastructure, but I might get it quickly. Why? Because I have touched it, I have worked on it, I have implemented a few solutions. So this way I say to people who are brand new, is practice makes you what? Right? There you go. So if you're doing practice and you go to Steven's company now, you're going to be not like clueless when you hear about images. You're not going to be like, oh, is Kevin talking about images from my family? So should I bring my big images with me? No, you're not talking about that, right? So at least at this point, you will have that mentality to go and kind of like tackle on these images. And when they're teaching you, you're going to be actually, okay, yeah, I know what they're talking about. I'll learn more about it, but I know what they're talking about. So the next step for a lot of people who says that, I don't know about that specific technicality of it. To be honest, I would say, okay, how much do you know about imaging? I say 20%. Look at the margin right there. 20%. This means that my job, meaning I'm not doing a lot with the images. So why should I go invest my time on it, right? So the thing is this, like this, 20% meaning I know the technical stuff. 80%, this means I rely on what? When it comes to anything technical and that you have to follow procedures, where do you go? Anybody? If you have to rely on specific step-by-step procedures on implementing a solution, where do you go?
Documentation.
Documentation. Perfect, right? You gotta make sure that you gotta go back to the source documentation if you have to implement something or understand something or learn something. Now, remember, I'm not saying a documentation by another coworker, because they may have put in something, I did an image 27 minutes ago, done. That's not documentation right there, right? That's not, you're not going to learn anything. So what you need to do is, as a brand new person, if you say that, okay, KevTech job, you started working with KevTech. KevTech is not helping you much. His tickets are bad, done, quick, done, right? Like something like that. Then you don't rely too much on KevTech. What you do is whatever technology they're using in the company, you go and basically go to documentation and learn about it and make yourself more professional in it. Does that make sense to a lot of people? KevTech, you want to say something? Or Steven?
Yeah, what about the applications? What about like if you have Office on there, if you have some other applications, will it rip out those IDs and will you have to reinstall them to reconfigure them, or will that not touch anything? Like, how does that work with, like, if you have 5 or 6 other applications, Office applications you have in there, or special applications?
In terms of this specific Sysprep, or are you talking about just imaging?
Well, specific to Sysprep. So if you do the Sysprep, let's say you have a machine, you have like 4 or 5 or 6 different Office applications which you have on there, specific applications. You run this Sysprep. Now you're starting over again. You're going to boot back in. You'll have Chrome. You'll have some other Office, products, some other whatever, product on there. Do you have to go in and reconfigure them, or is that not touched?
So to be honest, when it comes to Windows environments right now, like we are on what, 1909? Is that the new version, right, KevTech? So like from before that, because my last training when I did was on 903, I believe, or behind that. It did not touch any applications. So let's check it out right now, because I do not have a clear answer, but I feel like it will retain all the applications, because that's what you're doing. You're sysprepping out of the box, but at the same time, it should keep your settings and stuff like that doesn't touch too much of like security stuff, right? Or identifications or anything. So it shouldn't do that. But to be honest, I have not actually looked into the applications lately. So I should keep it. But that's kind of like my thinking right now. So if you go in and we will check it right now, because this is Monica's application. I'm sure we have done it something to Monica before, right?
Right, but I'm just saying, because you're saying it touches the application IDs. So if you're having an issue with one, now we're doing a Sysprep to kind of like bring it back to day one without re-imaging the whole entire machine here.
That I don't know if it's gonna remove specific office type of. I'm sure it's gonna remove anything that hits that local user ID. I'm sure, because let's say, for example, that you logged into a machine and you logged into a domain user connected to Outlook. That's connection right there, right? That's connecting to a domain ID with a user. So if you did a Sysprep, I'm sure that's gonna get removed. That's my thinking about it, but I haven't gone that far, because if you think about it, maybe when we did a lot of Syspreps or when we did a lot of imagings, what we would do is we would create the base image, and if it has to be deployed, like some application that has to be deployed, I would deploy it actually, like Office 360, Office 2016, FileZilla and stuff like that, maybe, because that would be my next step, right? Because the reason for that is, Stephen, is that application gets updated so quickly, right? Maybe a month, maybe two, and then that's where that. But here's your answer right there. First question, the first answer is that it retained application, right? Yeah, that's a clear answer right there. Number one, did it retain anything else that has to do with more of a application as an office level? So I think this one don't have an office, or does it have it? It does have office. Or it doesn't. Oh no, what this stuff comes with it. So if I click on Office, is it going to install Office or
OneNote? You have OneNote.
But we haven't before we did it, we didn't actually take that in consideration to let's go ahead and log into one of the machines, right? We didn't do that. That's something we can test. Maybe you can test this, Steven. And then of course I feel like maybe it may get removed if it's hitting anything at AD level or anything at a user level. I think that's going to get removed. Does that make sense? But at the same time, we know that applications are there, right? Zoom is there.
You can see down in the corner, it's resetting a lot of apps. See that down there?
Yeah, an app default was reset. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, there you go.
I mean, but like 2 or 3 just like flown on by there, so it does do something.
Yeah, I think it gotta do something. Like you say, like if it can remove the keys and everything, then Office also have key and everything too, right? So I'm sure it's doing that kind of stuff. Is also, if you think about from Microsoft perspective, whoever created this whole technology, you're going to be thinking about the same processes, because that's Microsoft tools too, right? Like, why would they want to use the same key, which we were kind of like implying, hey, I think you guys should use a different key. So I'm sure that I think that's going to happen, but we should test it. I'm never 100% sure about these things. So
would this be a good thing to do if you were getting rid of your old laptop and kind of like strip out your applications and do a Sysprep and just kind of like 100%. Hand it over to some kid and go, here you go.
100%. We do that. Cool. We do that when we do selling, right? Like you have to sell an old laptop or something. Why would you give somebody a machine with either a no password or a password? A no password is also dangerous, because someone will just get in, somebody else will take a hold of that, and then maybe a person who doesn't have too much technology knowledge may just not know that do I really need to put a password in there? They may not even know how to add a password, and then there you go. You got an admin password, no nil password, and somebody gets into their machine. So I highly recommend it. Like, why would you give a machine with already pre-built stuff? Don't do that, right?
I would auto nuke the hard drive.
And that's something you can do too. Or I'll just remove the hard drive and give them and say, hey, buy your own hard drive.
You know, that's something that's not really talked about much about the Sysprep. You know, for people giving away their machines or something like that, like that's not really known. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm surprised it's not out in the mainstream more. Like, hey, people should worry to run a Sysprep if you're going to be giving it to a friend or whatever, you know what I mean, outside.
Well, like I said, if you're going to give it to someone like a family member or maybe anybody else, then you want to make their life easy, because you know that you don't want to go through the whole process of telling a person what to pick, what to not pick, all these information that you saw in the beginning. And I think you have to understand that too. A lot of people want to make their life easy. They just want to give it because it's ready. Like if it's my uncle or my aunt or anyone, right? I'll just say, oh, aunt, let me just make a profile for you. You don't need to do anything. This is your name. Marcia, whatever, Marcia, you log into this password. So that's another piece of it too, because we always go for something that may not make them call us back, right? Because imagine how many calls are you going to get from people that, hey, it says that it's going to detect my activity. Should I pick yes or no? I'm sure a lot of people want to, that's kind of like, I would say, why people don't want to go towards that route. But again, when you do it, then it comes with this problem too. You made the security answers in the beginning. Remember, we added that security answers, right? You added the password, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to come back to you at some point, because it happens to me a few days ago from Pakistan, who my brother is in Pakistan right now, right? He called me from Pakistan. Kevtech, hear the story. He called me from Pakistan. Danish, remember you gave me a laptop 5 years ago? Do you remember that password? I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? 5 years ago, am I going to remember the password? I don't remember no passwords. So I showed him this method. So Steven, now you tell me on the phone, I have to tell a non-technical person, install Hiron Boot CD, Rufus, put it on a USB, and reset your password. And he did it, and he was jumping. But to be honest, for me, it was like my blood was boiling. I'm like, I'm doing this on the phone just because he doesn't remember his password. So you think about it, all that kind of scenarios is also then a lot of people, when they sell out, then they have these contracts, or hey, as is, I'm not responsible. You make your password. I'm going to give you empty password. I'm not responsible after that. So all that kind of stuff is there too then. Okay. So
Danish is gonna, sorry, I interrupt. Just keep in mind, Danish, I know you don't drink. I don't know if Steven doesn't drink either, but just keep in mind that if we go out and drink, and if you tell me something, it stays with me for 3 years, 4 years. I keep a strong memory of it. If you say something funny about yourself, I will remember it. Just letting you know.
All right. That's nice. So, anyways, I hope people are getting something out of it. I'm not sure if this is good enough for a lot of people, but let's see. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's one question what coming to my mind. How to install the image to the system with different configuration then?
So for that's where you need more advanced tools. Like you have to grab the image, the whole as an image, and then you have to put it on a bare metal type of hardware. So for this VLAN, you need more advanced tools. So what we're gonna do in this session, we're gonna just touch it, and we're gonna go to part 2 for it. And after this little bit of my video, then we will basically kind of like do a Q&A and just talk to each other for a little bit. Of course, this is if we're gonna implement the whole solution from scratch, and then I guess it's gonna be another 2 hours, right? So if just to start VLAN, this is where you need a much, I'd say a more robust solution where it needs to pull the whole image. So an image is what? It's gonna be a huge space, right? It's gonna be like 30 gigs or 40 gigs. So you need to have a system that can actually take that kind of files and deploy it on top of that machine also. So how is this possible? There's a few tools, and we're gonna just touch up this one tool just to give you a little idea. So maybe tomorrow you can also do a little research on it. Maybe go to their YouTube channel, or maybe go to their documentation and kind of like implement it that way in your systems too before I do my part 2. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna show you right now, and you guys can use this for learning purposes. They also offer Manage Engine. You guys mean like this guy's getting paid by Manage Engine, I guess. Manage Engine OS Deployer. This is a new feature that I just saw, and I like it. Why? Because when I teach things, it's more graphical, and I think it makes more sense. So if you go to the OS imaging and deployment software right here, you're gonna click on it. And then you see this VLAN right here. Look at the image right here, deploying an Office operating system to what? HP, Dell, IBM, Toshiba, doesn't matter what it is, right?
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
So if you go down, what kind of things they offer right here? They say create, customize, deploy an image. Create image, customize it, and deploy it, right? This is very self thing, right? Image live machines, Vilad. So if you have a machine already running in your network, you can grab the image out of it without letting a user know about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you have a unique hardware, then imaging solutions are mainly designed for that. Hardware independent, customized deployment. Again, deployed OS or anywhere. So if you have these clients running on your remote machines, meaning I'm sitting in US and I have a client in Australia and my server is connected to their client in Australia, I can actually deploy the image in Australia. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Multiple boot options, which a lot of these images solutions should have and must have it, because some will have ISO, some will have a USB, some will have a Pixie. Right? You just saw that in the first round of WDS, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in WDS, you can also create custom stuff too. So how can you practice, guys? You have what? You have 1 server access and 4 workstation freely available to you. Now, that's great, because if you are going to learn about imaging, this is a professional system, right? And if you download it and you practice it, you get the imaging done and you have done it successfully, this means you have confidence to take on any enterprise level type of imaging systems. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is it the part of the Desktop Central, or
Yes,
is it?
it's all the same company. Yep. So if I come over here and click on get started, what it will do, it will install. So I'm not sure if I already, yeah, I think I already have it right here. Let's just go ahead and open that. So what after installation, of course, it's going to go out there and it's going to install this full system. I'm not even sure if that's the one. I think that's the OS deployer. Is that OS deployer? Or is that the, no, that's the desktop central. I think, let me see. Because I think we did this lab last time, right?
Yeah, I think you gotta download the other one. I think.
Yeah, this is a desktop central. This is not an OS deployer.
Yeah, you gotta download the other one.
OS deployment is right here. I feel like I still need to install it. Yeah, it does have the ability. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta do it in there.
Yes, I remember that thing.
Yeah, I remember the other class. You were dancing and then deploying the software.
So if you have the same tool, by the way, if you're watching my first class, then it has the ability right here to do that kind of stuff. So you can see the first thing is it's asking for what? Manual download image creator component. I feel like we did this last time, or did I do this in my training? Did I do this, by the way? I don't remember it. No, right? Okay, no, we didn't do it. Okay, so a few things you need to understand when it comes to imaging and you're doing it more remotely. Again, what do you need? What kind of knowledge do you need? You need about Active Directory, all that kind of stuff, because these computers are connected to Active Directory. So if you have to grab an image from these kind of computers, then your credentials has to be an admin. Why an admin? Because you're grabbing some stuff that requires evaluated access, right? You cannot be a normal user doing this kind of stuff. So first thing is you got to be an admin account. So it says computer to image right here. So what kind of computer do we want to image right here? Do we have any computers right here? Let's see. And we just even messed up our own lab. We imaged the Monica's machine. We Sysprep Monica's machine. So we even blew up our lab. So that's great. That's also removed. I don't know if Monica is going to be here now. I guess she's there. So we're going to try it. It's probably not going to work, but I'm just going to give you like just kind of like what's the radical understanding of it. Okay. So we have what? Monica. I'm going to pick Monica. It's verifying Monica. And then it says IP address FQDN. We're not going to touch that right now. But here I'm going to say DK root help desk. Help desk is the account that we created. So say fetch the partition. It's going to go out there and it's going to validate the information. It's going to say copy image creator component. If it doesn't capture that, then this means that when we did the Sysprep, we probably broke something in there. So we may have to go to that machine and maybe add it back to the domain and maybe add this file again, like the manual download image creator component. We may have to add that again. Now the question is like, why isn't doing this on a network basis? Again, that's why I say that you have to invest your time into the product to understand what kind of protocol it use, what kind of ports does it use. And that is where you have to, if you're taking that kind of, if you're learning it that way, then trust me, save it for your work. If you want to take that kind of stress. But if you want to learn it as a person who have a lot of time and you're enthusiast about learning this stuff, then yes, try to fix it. Does that make sense? Start to fix it. Go and do what? Documentation, right? And you'll learn way a lot more when you do it that way.
A lot of it is you gotta have a lot of patience, so you just gotta wait.
Patience,
patience, just wait.
So at this point, we know we messed up Monica's machine. So how can we fix Monica's machine back on domain? Can we put her back on her domain right now? What domain are we using over here, by the way? There's tons of different type of domains that I have here. I want to see if my Active Directory is working as well. It should be. So we can see if our domain is what here. Okay, and do I want to also check what's my net bias? DK, okay. So, and most of it is stuff like I want to check if it's firewall stuff is running. So everything should be working correctly over here. And you can see the name is very weird for this domain, right? DC 4000. And nobody will name a domain like that. So
Unless you're a calculator.
DC 4000, yeah. So that's definitely not working because it's not connecting to that machine for some reason. So what we can do right now, we're gonna come over here and we can go to Monica's machine. Where did I open Monica? Here, Monica's right here. So first, if I go here, I feel like there's not gonna be any DNS information or anything like that. So let's see, probably KevTech, I might have the same issue like you did.
Yeah, my issue was a pain.
Mine's good. I think I have a connection here, so I'm good. So okay, let's put that DNS address in here. And then what's the simple? Because I'm using everything. I'm not even using anything remotely. What's the simple command that I can apply on my domain right now to find the IP address of the domain? What should I do, guys? I mean, this is entry level 0.001. I want to find the IP address of this domain.
888.
IP config.
IP config.
Oh.
There you go. Remember, I'm doing extreme basic stuff right here.
Oh,
I'm not going to my remote machine, try to ping the NS lookup. None of that is required right now.
What if you want to find out more information besides IP config? What's the other command?
What should you do with
IP config all /all. Yeah.
Very good.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and put that IP address in there to make it join into a domain. And if you guys have any question in the between while I'm doing this, guys, this is also your opportunity to ask questions. These kind of trainings are also career-related questions too, you know. Unless you guys are too bored right now, like, man, let's just end it.
No, Daniel, you're valuable.
What's that?
You're valuable.
Oh man, thank you so much. I'm flattered.
He's gonna give you that fruit that he's holding in his hand.
Oh, did I mention, if somebody's watching me, if you guys come to KevTech's live session on Saturday, I'm gonna actually offer a gift. But the gift to people who actually perform in the labs, not just gift like that, right? So I'm gonna announce the gift when we go over there, okay? When we get to his session.
I definitely need to be aware.
Okay, so you can see one of the things. Oh, why is Monica not working? Look at that name. So we didn't talk about when you do Sysprep, what happens to your machine? It generalized, right?
Oh yeah, on Sport Group now.
You're picking Monica, and that name doesn't even exist.
Exactly. There's none of this name existed. So the one thing I can do is to probably rename it, but I don't want to rename it and I don't have time. But I want to give you guys theoretical understanding quickly, just to hit some points right here. Like, okay, I'm gonna come over here, DK, DJ. I used to be DJ, okay?
You should get out of it and make them go over how you add a computer to a domain.
Oh man, okay. Okay, guys. Okay, so what account can I use to add this to a domain? Anyone?
Yeah. Domain admin.
All right, done. So in this case, we are going to basically restart this machine, and what will happen, we're going to have to go back to our server and find this machine again, and we're going to try that process. But if that also fails, we need to actually add that tool in there. So let's go back to our server machine and pull that up now. And while this is starting, I'm sure it's not going to find it. You see network path was not found. That's because it didn't find the name. So of course there's no name out there. Maybe it's staying somewhere in this database right here in this system, but right now it's just didn't, it couldn't find it. So if I do the browse, again, and since we didn't even think of what that machine name was, does anybody remember what that name was? Look at that. Did it show up now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll wait for it, because if you just pick on it right now and just start scanning it, then of course it's not going to work because it's totally not up yet. So that's the first step, right? You got to prepare your image. You have to have a machine that you do all the work. That's the piece that you have to do anyways. That first 4 hours or that first 5 hours, you got to invest that time, right? That's why we call it imaging, right? That's the time we want to save. So if I come over here and I'm going to click OK, and then validate this computer name, and then do a find partition with the credential, just pick that right here, and let's say fetch the data, and we'll see if it can find it now. If it still can't find it, I'm not sure. Then maybe there's something else. But it's just give me an error quickly rather than giving all that time, right? So I can come over here, and I've tried a few things. I can try to do that. And remember, guys, this is the kind of problems you're going to definitely come through when you are implementing imaging for the first time. Why? Because you're doing everything on a network level, right? There got to be a firewall issue. There got to be a port issue. There got to be a service issue. There got to be this issue, that issue. And you got to go through all that stuff, right? And that's very common. So another thing I want to basically test, can I even ping that a machine?
I was about to say that. Can you even ping that machine? That's what I want to know.
So anybody, how do I ping a machine, by the way? If I want to ping a machine, a remote machine, how do I ping it?
You type ping and then the name of the machine.
A name of the machine. Is there any other way to ping a machine, by the way? This is the reason I should have renamed this, right? Because it's such a big name now. So you're right, pink. This means I need to go sleep, guys. Desktop dash, and I can't even read this, UV.
You could type yellow and see what happens. Yellow space.
Ooh. Oh, no, I made a mistake. Again, this is a fat fingers issues, okay? Oh, that's not working. I'm not writing something correctly. Desktop. Anybody help me out? UV
desktop
RR
UVRR
CBG.
CBG.
Are you guys? I think it's not B. It's
8G.
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go. Oh, there's something wrong immediately. Here we go.
All right, guys, help me out, because I'm not gonna fix this issue. Trust me. This is a basic stuff that you guys will learn. If a ping is not responding, then what is some of the basic issues that you're gonna face in the companies? And this could be anything, by the way.
Check the firewall.
All right. Anybody else? All right, Kevin, you don't say anything.
Yeah, I think firewall too.
How do I check firewall on the desktop?
Oh, you need to go to this machine and go to Windows Defender.
Not Defender. I mean, Defender is kind of different than firewall, but when you type it, just type firewall. It's going to come up with that.
Oh, yeah.
So what's up with this right now? What do I do?
Turn off that option, and just turn off everything.
Okay, good. And how do I ping back again? If I want to do a quick ping, what do I do? Let's say without typing.
You use the up arrow key.
Good job.
Oh yeah, this
perfect.
One. Okay.
You win the prize. What's that, Lila?
Yes.
Yeah, you win a free blender.
Lila, welcome. I thought you were going to join this. I thought you were busy.
No, when do I come for the gift?
If you come next session on Saturday, you have to come. You have to come for the gift. Then look at that. Look what happens.
Okay, I'll be there.
All right. Saturday. What time?
It's working. It's working now.
Right?
3 p.m. Eastern time. Look at that. It's working now.
So we went through the first phase and it picked it up. Now listen, guys. If it didn't work, then what this application is telling you, go on the right side and manually download that image creator component. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're going to download that and you're going to run it locally on the machine so that it can do whatever it wants to do, and then we'll let you connect to that stuff right there. So it's right now it's a validating image creator components. So let's see if we can come across a second issue now. I am the 5th person to like your page, man. Elizar, what can I say? I love you. I love you. I don't get a lot of likes, man. I don't know, for some reason. I mean,
this is what happens right here, though. Sometimes you get past stage 1 and then stage 2 doesn't want to work. It does happen sometimes with IT issues.
Mm-hmm. No, other thing is like, okay, we're doing this training. Of course, it's not about just imaging, right? It's about, the whole thing is about what? The whole thing is about skills, right? So basically, I like to work out on these type of products because it teaches me a lot, right? Because all of this stuff is about networking, IT stuff, and they're being used in the market. They're being used by businesses. So when you do these kind of things on a regular basis, you come across a lot of issues, you fix a lot of issues, and that's what we call experience. Isn't that experience, Captain? Or experience has to be you sitting on the chair somewhere and you're like, okay, I'm in a corporate office and I'm just sitting on a chair. That's not experience.
No, man, I agree with you. That's what it is. You do these labs, and sometimes you come across some weird error messages that you might encounter in your job, actually. And that's happened to me before. Like, I encountered these weird issues in my job that I seen in a virtual environment, but also just weird issues in general. I told you, like, that VPN issue. Remember I told you about the VPN issue? That was an issue I'd never seen in my life before. And then I went back and forth with the sysadmin, with the network team, and then it was an actual issue with the application itself. So it's just
exactly.
Yeah, it happens.
Now here's the thing. You have to also understand the background when we do like training. In training, we never want to fix everything from scratch. But if you look at it, what are some of the things that we have messed up today? We went in there, we sysprepped a domain join machine, right? A domain join machine. We already messed it up, right? A little bit, right? Because that was not an approach I should have been taken, because I kind of got involved in more of a Sysprep stuff. But if my right approach to fix these type of issues and everything, that I know that, hey, maybe some of the issues are not coming because of my own creation, my own errors. And it's a very common thing in IT that we make almost 70 to 60% of our issues ourselves, right? Because we either created an image badly, we have either did something wrong with the computer, and now we're fixing it, right? Isn't that true, Kev? Like we create a lot of things, we forget, right? We're humans.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's important that you do, when you have a ticketing system, you write down notes and everything, because you never know if you got to go back to it. So you always want to write down exactly what you did and how you fixed that problem, because it's gonna come back to you again. You don't know, it might show up in it might show up a year from now, and you don't remember how you fixed it.
Exactly. So if you look at it right now, it says validating image creator components. That means like maybe I should run the manual image component again, because it was a part of this machine before we did the sysprep. Before we sysprep on top of it, right? So the component was already existed in this machine before. Remember, Monica was a part of this. And then if we did a sysprep, I don't know if did that messed it up. Right now, this is live right now that I'm thinking maybe I'm doing a process of what have I done? What have I done before that is leading me to all this wait time or issues now? So that's something you will be thinking too. And it doesn't matter what kind of error or what kind of situation you are in, you have to go back. You got to step back. You're going to ask a user, what was the last time something happened? When did you see this last time? Did you notice this today or 2 days ago? Whatever, right? Who came last? And maybe they'll say, yesterday, KevTech came in and installed something. And I'm like, okay, I need to go talk to KevTech, right? Because KevTech might have done something to the machine that I just need to know about it, right? So some of mainly our job also when it comes to troubleshooting, it rely a lot on information, by the way.
Yeah, that's why communication is really important between the team.
Yeah, and that's why we use what? And that's why KevTech made a video today, what? Because you have to make sure you put a resolution stuff in the ticketing system correctly, because exactly if I was doing an imaging today and KevTech did a Sysprep yesterday, And if I don't know he did a Sysprep, then I'll be sitting here, maybe my remaining hair will also go out. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So in a interview, if somebody would ask you, hey, why would you do a Sysprep? What is the politically correct answer to give then in that situation?
Possibly.
You know, to be honest, my answer in the Sysprep is going to be like, if somebody asks you about the Sysprep, that this, first of all, this person knows what he's talking about, right? He's just not throwing it out there, right? So the correct answer is going to be related to the imaging. Then you don't want to give an answer that is more outside of the scope of images, right? Because Sysprep is used mainly for in a business world for images. So you're going to say, because I want to make sure that it doesn't get a duplicate IDs or stuff like that. I want to make sure that my image don't have any problems in the future. That is the political and the correct answer. If you go to the Google right now and you would say, why do we need images in the corporate world? You're going to see only people are going to be talking about deployments, right? Deployments, imaging, and stuff like that. But if you go to a Best Buy and somebody say, hey, why would you need an image? And you say, like, I want to do an image because I don't want to give my own IDs. I want to make sure it's what's that? Outside the box experience. You want to give that answer then. Does that, you see that, Stephen, like you have a different answers in a different situations, right? Does it make sense?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, because when we do the images in the healthcare, things. Hold on one second, my son.
Yeah, it's okay. Take your time. No problem. What would you give an answer, Kevtek?
I would say something like, this is Sysprep is the process of preparing an image for a computer, so then the computer doesn't have any issues later on when you're trying to build other computers.
And you
a
can
simple
also,
answer like that, like
yeah, and simple answer. And you can also add a line to that too, that, oh, well, Sysprep is also used for outside of experience. Like once I do that, it's going to bring out the more outside of the box experience. It will remove everything that is like SSIDs and stuff like that. So you want to go into too detail about it. Maybe they'll ask you, okay, explain to me how SSID works, and then I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, I'm done right.
Yeah, so you that's why you give I
like Kevtek answer because you cut it down to where you want to be, like, just kind of like cut it down to like place where they don't proceed more.
Yeah, because if you give them if I start saying Sysprep is to prepare an SSCM or Avanti image from deploying on F12, and it has to image on the Pixie boot, and it prepares all. I start talking like that. Like, what?
Yeah, but also too, I think in some Syspreps, you can actually, a program comes up because it'll walk you through some steps where you can go, okay, you can add the actual system ID, and you see like with the SCCM stuff, it comes up to like a white screen and it says, okay, you can put in the actual system ID if you want to add it to a domain controller, and then the next step will be, okay, you got to put in your credentials to get past to actually image the actual machine. And then it walks on to the next step, and then it starts loading up the operating system, and it goes to the step. So is that kind of like a step, like a Sysprep program, which they can?
The method that you're saying is kind of like, I would say, a method after Sysprep, if Sysprep is a part of an application or a script.
Okay.
So the Sysprep would be the first, and then your scripts are going to be after. So when you say SCCM, SCCM will be doing another step after Sysprep. So for example, if I have to do a Sysprep on a, let's say, what should I use right here? Maybe I say, okay, Windows 10 machines, and I want to make it join to the domain. It won't make any sense to do any type of Sysprep after that part, right? It has to go through first. Sysprepped it, came back, and restarted it because of that, whatever functionality or script that you were using. And then it used another script after that because it was connected to the server or that program or that agent or whatever client you're using, right? So most of this type of thing, and I'll remind you again that the technique that you're saying is very old technique when people would create a whole script together, right? So if you go online right now and you say how to do a Sysprep with Windows XP or Windows 7, you're going to see like huge script, right? And that will be connected all together, like somebody will be deploying it. But these days, what happened is that people actually have different programs that can actually remove IDs for them. So they even don't rely, like you said, like why don't we see this a lot? So one of the reasons could be that maybe most of these applications don't want to take on that kind of, like a technicality that they have to create an application to work with Sysprep. Because there are other applications. If you go to type alternative to Sysprep, if you just do Google that, right, you're going to see other systems, other applications have the ability to actually do that for you. So, for example, what I'm showing right now, it's not working actually, but maybe we'll do it in part 2. We'll make it another server running. But I'm just going to do a more of like a theoretical understanding of this, that if this is an application, so what this application is doing is grabbing a whole image, but it has the ability, option in there inside this application, Stephen, that you can check mark Sysprep before you take the image. So even in this application, there's actually an option. So there's actually, you check mark it, it Sysprep it, and then it takes the image out of that machine.
Okay.
But how does it take the image out of the machine? Because of the client connectivity. It doesn't just go out magically, right? It has to have some kind of client. And that is where you see this component creator. It adds its stuff to it. So it's being kind of like managed. You would consider that like as an agent, So most of these applications right now, I don't know, this crappy thing is not working right now. But
I was gonna say you probably have to go into the. I'm pretty sure that's working. I think it's the computer itself, the computer, Monica's computer. You might have to go to that and open the application and see what's going on with the app that's installed on it, the engine app, and see what's going on with it.
Yeah, man, I think maybe we can run it on again, but I feel like that's gonna be just take us from our whole idea of training will go to a product troubleshooting, But anyways, the thing is this, the main thing is this right here, because after this I can give you a little bit of kind of like what happened after that, right? Because we did the whole Sysprep on this machine and we didn't consider the whole errors and everything in the beginning. So what happened is this, that you're gonna. This is basically saying validating image creator component. So it's probably that what Kev is saying, that of course maybe that application on this machine is not properly communicating back. It does find it, but maybe it's not communicating back because we did a Sysprep on it and it probably screw up something, right? So if it connects back, then what's the next step? Look at this, the third one. The third one is saying fetching disk partition details. So whenever you do images, whenever you do deployments, and you have to actually deploy a full computer, like a full structure of a computer, right? You got to make sure that you grab the whole structure as from the other computer to, like for example, it has C drive, D drive, E drive. You got to understand that. Do you really need other drives? What if the other drive is like 3 TB and it's just data, right? You're never gonna get that as an image, right? Imagine if you do that as an image, that's gonna be crazy, right? So it's gonna grab all that. So you gotta make sure that you go back to after this structure partition, and then you pick, let's say, only C drive. Maybe just that's the only thing that you want then. And then you basically create an image over here. So the next step after this, guys, is that this tool or any other tools will have you create a what? ISO or some type of PE or something like that you can boot your other system from for the first time, or you can actually add a Pixie. So this means you either have to use a standalone DHCP server, which a lot of these freeware comes with, and then you can actually install a Windows server that can do that part for you too. So in this case, let's say, for example, we went ahead, we created an image, and like I said, for people who wanted to do this a whole like a full flow, we're going to create a part 2, then we're going to do a fresh stuff in there, so there will be no errors. So after that, we're going to do that. We're going to create an ISO and everything. First, it's about imaging. We're already almost done right here, but I just want to quickly kind of like today for part 1 for people who doesn't want to wait for part 2.
I wanted to say that you have no idea how, like, this is like a realistic issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think Steven's going to agree with me. You have no idea how many times you come across an issue where you have 2 techs working on the same issue or the same ticket, and then one tech does something on the computer and then something doesn't work anymore, and they break it by accident, and then the other person is trying to get into that same computer and they're trying to figure out why that computer is not working. So you have to like take a step back and then talk to the other tech and then figure out what the hell's going on with the computer and then figure out why it's not working. And
communication.
All of a sudden, something's broken in it.
Yeah,
you have to rebuild the whole computer or something. You don't know.
Like in this case, we assume, we don't know if that's really an issue, right? We assume that because of our sysprepping that machine, this component was already in that machine, and that's where it gets stuck because that's what we see. I mean, I have not gone through any logs, or I have not gone into this product logs or anything like that to really troubleshoot this thing from a really like that point. But maybe what I can do is to maybe extract this local file that it was looking for, and it says that it found that, but maybe it's just not doing what it's supposed to do, right? So maybe what we can do is to copy this file right here. Now, okay, now here's the thing. As an admin, who knows the tip to get into this machine right now? This machine, who knows that one tip without sharing? Without sharing. I'm not talking about sharing. I'm not talking about file sharing, nothing like that. I just want to get into that machine right now. I don't want to drop this file. Who knows that tip?
For remote control?
What would you remote control? Like remote control is like you're getting into the machine as a remote connection, right? I just want to drop this file on this desktop right here.
Well, I guess just copy and paste if it will work. I don't know.
Well, what if this person is in India right now, sitting in India, and you're going to copy paste? How are you going to copy paste?
I send them the file.
Steven wants to answer, right? All right, Steven, go ahead.
Use the UNC path. Backslash, backslash, server, backslash, share name. Or C drive.
Okay,
You can actually
okay.
you have to go to C.
That's
yeah.
Sorry, C dollar.
I forget about
$3 sign, and I think most of you who did my live session, you guys know this, but I mean it takes a little time. But again, I will give you a clear warning. If you guys do this, process, and you get into a machine and you get into some girl's pictures, I can guarantee you're fired. I guarantee you in that. The reason for that is that if you do this process, most of our security applications can detect that kind of thing. Most of the AMP, I don't know if you guys know, advanced memory protection systems. If you do anything / you get into a C drive or anything like that, I as an admin, if I put a rule in my system that show me all these type of accesses to other machines, show me those that. And whoever did that, I can see their commands. And the next thing they're gonna see is what? I'm gonna see the files and everything. So I'm just gonna give you a clear warning over here. If you feel like people cannot see you do these things, security guys can definitely see you. So don't do this process just to get into people's personal data. That's just ethically wrong too, right? Stephen and Kev, you guys agree with me, right? We don't do this we know that this is such a powerful access that, okay, I can just go to C drive, $, and I'm just gonna get in. But I just want to give out the warning too, but some people may not know and they get fired and like, oh, what happened to me? I just got fired, right? Because you were messing around with somebody else thing, right? Okay, I'm putting it in the wrong place. So I put what? Desktop. This is why, man, I use a. So Steven, did you notice that it changes the name too with the generic names? Because it was a Monica before. And right.
Yeah, I was gonna say C dollar sign. I was gonna say C dollar sign, but I didn't want to say that. I was like, is that what he's talking about?
I was getting there. Give me a break. It's late.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. No shares. I mean, it is a share, but it's like you're not sharing, right? Just like you go into the right click on it and do all that stuff, go to Active Directory and all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of people just know that kind of level of sharing, right?
This is so powerful. You have no idea. Like literally, you could tell someone to close Outlook and delete the OST profile from here if you wanted to.
Yeah, a lot of fun in there.
Okay, now this is a good question for you, Al. So when we rejoin this computer to a domain, which profile can I copy paste? Which one will work? What profile is this right? This is actually a help desk profile. I can tell you, I'll make it a little easy for you all. So which one is this one? Which one is it this one or is it this one?
It's public. Just kidding.
All right, everybody, who can give me this answer?
I think help desk is the main, and desktop it's like computer local account.
So this is the one that I should go in there?
Honestly, don't know.
Vlad, look at the date modify.
Oh yeah, right. Well, the one is 7 p.m.
This is actually such a cool area right here. And my last, good morning, Sanju. How are you, bro? This is such a good place to stop and rethink about something. And remember, KevTech is one of By the way, if you guys check my latest video with Haifa, right, you guys saw that the latest member, she did a whole review on the live training. One of the criticism that we gave Haifa, me and Kevtech both, that she was very fast, right? If this is the same question we asked Haifa, I think she would have gone to all of these 5 profiles and checked it in a second. She was fast, but she was very good learner. She was like learning good. But the thing is this, even her fastness in this area became a problem for her. So Kevtech waited for a little bit, look at the screen, look at what's happening. And I say it most of the time in my live training, I think most of my live members remember, attention to details. Remember, guys? Mm-hmm. So I hold them and I stop them like, guys, look at the screen. Forget about the rest of the stuff. Some things are advanced and we understand it. Nobody's a magician right here. If you can ask me a basic question, to be honest, I do not know these things. I do not know. I am a person who look at stuff. I'm going to go there. I'm going to take my street time. And if they want to fire me for that, go ahead and fire me. I don't give a damn about that kind of stuff, right? But that's my personality. That's how I work. But if other people may be a little bit different than me, but that's how I work. And I have been in IT for so long and I'm enjoying the life of IT. And I work that way. I work slowly. I look at the information. I'm like, okay, you know what? First thing is, Kevtech pointed out, look at the date. That's a clear answer right there, that there's some changes done to it. Then if you look at the profile and the computer name right now. Another thing. So if we come over here, and if I, let's say, come over to this one and I drop it to the desktop, I right click and just drop it. Let's say if that's going to show up, just to give you an answer. Let's see. Did it show up? Anybody?
No.
Okay. So let's go back to the second one now. Let's go to users, help desk, and drop it right here.
Yeah, it will
Did it show up?
Yeah.
Now, if you were on that computer, yes, you can do whoami/FQDN and exactly tell you that are you on a local profile or a normal. You can just do whoami to tell you that is you are on a local profile or you're not on a local profile. Those are the commands that you guys all should remember, okay? So if you do whoami/FQDN, it's going to tell you on the bottom that your profile is actually not joined to a domain. It clearly tells you. But most of us will not remember commands. That's how most of us work in IT. But there are some good minds out there. They're really good at commands and they can do all this stuff. I'm not one of those type of people. And I don't expect none of you, the entry levels, to know that kind of commands in the beginning, but at least know the GUI part of it first. Just kind of like touch it, right? So if we come over here and then run this application one more time and see if it works good. If not, then I'll just talk about it, more of like talking, and then we'll just kind of like end it. So we're going to run this application and it's telling validating, installing OSD components one more time, and then we can come back and try to troubleshoot this issue. If it works, not. Checking, blah, blah, blah. You will wait for, okay, you can wait for, or you can close for, everything is done, or we can close this window. So let's just go ahead and pick this machine again and fetch the details. So it goes out, it validate. I believe it's going to do it. And I hope it does it this time. If not, then we're moving on.
Please. Work.
Yeah, just throw the PC out the window. Trust me, that'll fix it.
That's the last solution.
Well, that's a clear indication right there that you wouldn't ever sysprep a domain join computer if you don't need to. Like, you could just remove it from a domain and put it on a work group to fix some type of domain connection issues. Remember, sometimes it drops from the domain. We have all seen that in our life, right? It drops from the domain and then you add it back to the domain, all that kind of stuff. You can take it out of that group and then you put it back. So that's kind of some of the things you guys can do. But here, clearly, we're not getting a response again. So something is happening over here, man. So forget it.
Danish, wait, Danish. Try running this on IE.
Don't tell me that. You think it's gonna work in IE?
Let's try it.
Actually, I moved away from IE.
Run it on IE. Just run it. Just for the sake of insanity, run it on IE.
I feel like that's gonna be the same thing. Oh, hold on. Something happened over here.
Did you pick the wrong one?
The process cannot be accessed because it's being used by it's being used by another process. Okay, so we have to
close that out. Try again.
Oh, it's hold on. Maybe we need to close this. That's why.
I actually
you know
have a
what?
problem today if
I know.
work.
Before I go to IE, I also want to try because I close it right now. I want to make sure that we try it here first, and then we're gonna go back to IE. Go here, admin. Fetch the data details. Still doing it. Process cannot be accessed because it is being used by another process. So maybe this machine, should we restart the server? What do you guys think?
Both of them.
Oh no, what? Okay. Here's a good thing. It's actually good stuff that came in. If your application is having an issue and this is a critical server, it is running, let's say, multiple applications. So 2 applications are working, 1 is not working. Would you restart the server?
Just restart application.
Restart application. But what would you do when you say restart application? What kind of things should we do in applications? What kind of normal things?
We should go to the task manager and look for the process which is running and just end task and restart the application.
That's a pretty aggressive move right there. And is there a better way to do that? We love it. Task manager, you ended, but what if this is a database kind of thing? Like something is getting written to your database.
Maybe just go to services.
Go to services and restart the services.
So most of these applications comes with these kind of features, right? Either it's Windows applications or applications like these, like you said, Sanju, right? Sanjay.
Yes,
so,
sir.
So if you look at it right here, you see let's do stop, and we're gonna start the service again, okay? And we're gonna wait for it. You see it's stopping right now. So this is just, of course, this application, but most of the time when you work in a IT world, and especially sysadmin world, you heavily rely on learning services. Trust me, it's a very big thing in sysadmin area, specifically when you work with Windows.
And it's a bunch of services, like 3 or 4 of them usually for one program or something like that.
Exactly. So it's a very good skill to learn. If you guys ever want to become a sysadmin, heavily invest in services and how services works. Trust me, it's going to save you good time. And web configs. If you ever want to become a sysadmin and you don't know about web configs, I don't know if you can really do your job, because all of these applications that you're going to be working on, most likely you're going to be heavily working on some type of IIS applications. If you're a Windows person, and they're using website on IIS, which highly likely there are a lot of people are using it, and you don't know how to do it with web configs and configs kind of stuff, then trust me, you're going to have nightmares. And maybe one day I'll make a video on how to learn web configs and what kind of tools do we use to compare changes in web configs. How do you find and change data inside web config if you have 50 servers? We'll do one video on that. That's something, if people remind me, I'll do one on this, because that's very critical skill if you really want to become sysadmin. Okay. So KevTech told me you cannot give up so easily, and he says that you can't just give up, man. You can't do this. Let's do part 1 and maybe we can finish part 1. Don't go to part 2.
Yeah, don't give up, man. Just try it.
How many people want to give up, by the way? I want to give up, to be honest. Part 1, I'm giving up. I'm very close to giving up. What do you guys think? Anyone else?
Try it again. Try it again. Come on.
No, you just need to try. It's like gambling. You know, what if it will work?
Oh, so Vlad's good at gambling. I might have to take him with me then if we go gambling.
It's like in real life scenario, if lots of users are using that services, then we have to just restart fastly, because the calls will come again and again, and this browser is not working or this service is not working. In that scenario, we cannot wait to troubleshoot. And right now we can think we have to restart.
Actually, that's a pretty good point. I will add to that. Yes, but what if it's keep happening every day at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock? If that issue is keep happening, would you do the same process again and again? Like restarting is an issue? Restarting a service would be a fix?
No, you need to figure out what is the issue.
Yeah, right. Sanjay, you have to then also make some type of, you have to draw a line too, right? Like if this issues keep happening, even if it's a big application that is being used by a lot of people, you still have to then go do what? You got to do a very detailed troubleshooting, right?
Right, right.
So the way we do and the way we deal with this kind of stuff is that if a machine or server is, our application is going down again and again, then what do? You monitor it. And there are tools that monitors your services, right? So you monitor it. If it goes down, then what do? You see what happened before that service went down. Because a lot of times when an application goes down, what happens? Service stopped, right? Or a service error occurred or something like that. So what do you need to do to make sure that you can get to the point, because you never know what timing it is. You have to see and monitor that service, and not when it went down, it's what happens before that, like 5 minutes ago. You're going to see that clearly in your event logs. You're going to see whatever your application that you're using for monitoring, you're going to see that errors right there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into fix the problem. So sometimes you may be able to fix it. Sometimes you can't fix it because it's outside of your skills. Like for example, if I'm working on a database and my skills are just basic level, and if this is something to do with extreme detail level of database stuff, then I heavily rely on a database developer or database administrators, right? I'm not going to be able to fix that because then I need to go back to this guy who really knows what he's doing with the database stuff and kind of give me queries, some reporting and telling me exactly this is where the issue is. And they may say, oh, there's a permission issue. This Active Directory account got locked out, a service account got locked out, and then you guys need to fix that. And then we just go and change the password, and then everything is fixed. But that information was found, can be only found out when you do all this kind of logging and everything. It's never easy. It's never that simple. When a thing goes down and you're like, oh my God, yeah, I know the fix. Let me fix it right now, right?
Just give it a go. Give it a go.
So let's see, we restarted the service and we just did the troubleshooting process. We went out there to one machine. We installed that component again. We put it on domain again. And now we're coming back to our server and we're like, okay, you know what? Let me just give it another try now. I'm going to go and do an online create an image. Pick that machine. Copying image creator component. It worked. Validating image creator component. If it's spinning like this, I don't have a good feeling, but maybe it might work. What else can we look into this machine?
Check the other desktop. Check the Windows desktop.
Windows desktop? What do you mean?
Check Monica's desktop.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
It's already contacting. So let's do this. Maybe we can go and just do the basic stuff. Hang. Oh, I was too fast.
Why don't you stop the service there as well and then start it again?
I think I was thinking about that too. Like right here, if you look at it,
it's not even look like it's on. What's going on with that?
It's on. It's like you say agent way, but it's like no, it's using this is using the desktop central one. But here's the thing, one of the thing, guys, I have not deployed their solution like as just a standalone OS deploying solution. Remember, I'm using what? I'm using the old desktop central that we have installed, and it comes with this feature with it. So I don't know. I've not tested this before, because what I would do, I would actually go and actually install the whole OS deployer as a separate application. And that kind of gave me a little bit more better result. And this is the first time I'm doing it with it. So I don't know if this is this machine having this issue or this is something else. So something we can do is this. I can work on it. Maybe I'll find it. And if I found the fix for it, I'll record it actually. That's a better way to kind of continue this training. And then we can go and kind of like do anything. But here's the thing, what happens after this? It goes outside. If it basically picked all this partition disk and everything, and it will grab the image of whatever you have done on this machine. So that's the concept behind it, right? It's going to grab all that kind of stuff, no problem at all, that kind of stuff. And it's going to be added to your what? Added to your server right here. Then what you need to do in the server, I'm just gonna cancel this. I'm gonna show you that page right there. Okay. Let's go back. And then I'll show you this diagram right here, which they have. The diagram is important. You see, you create an online image, you customize the online image. What's the next step right here? Create a bootable media. So you can either create a Pixie, just like we did with the WDS, or you can create, let me click on it again so it goes back, or you can create an USB, or you can create an ISO, right? ISO would be required where? When you burn it to a DVD, or maybe you're doing it in a virtual environment. Does that make sense? So you would have the ISO installed. In virtualization, of course, we're going to be relying on ISO because we need to, and then go and open up a brand new bare metal machine and then grab the image from this server. Does that make sense? And then after that, you deploy the image. So you can deploy it two ways now. You can go to this application and you can say, I want to deploy this to my rest of my machines. Now, of course, you're not going to be deploying an image on top of a CEO machines that is already running. That's just crazy, right? You're going to be making sure that when you're doing deployments, it has to be done whenever you need it as a bare metal access, or maybe you need to upgrade the image or something like that. So that's the flow right here, right? So if I close this, if you want to create an ISO and everything, you're going to come over here and you're going to tell you, it even tells you, right, get started by creating a golden image. That's what Steven said in the beginning. He was talking about that golden image. That's exactly what it is. When you click on create an image, they're probably going to take me to the same options. Again, you see the first options, and it's a step-by-step process and everything. Now, if you come back right now and look on the bottom right here, you have different type of things that you can do, deploy an image, all that kind of stuff. So the process is very much automated, right? So let's say once you create that image, then you're going to come on, it's going to ask you, okay, let's create a bootable media. So when you click on bootable media, so here's the warning for you all. Bootable media is 4 gigs of data. Most of them it's like 4 GB, 3 GB data. So be patient with this. When you click on create a bootable media, this is where it's going to go out and ask you, what kind of bootable media do you want to create? Pixie, USB, or ISO. So if you click on ISO, here's a trick for you guys. If you guys get stuck, so I'm sure the first phase, I think you guys will move in with no issues because you have not done my type of mistakes. You're going to move in, everything will be nice, next. You're going to come over here and you're going to say, okay, I got it. So once you click on I got it, there's a video in there too if you want to learn more. Very important step is right here. This is a very important step. Do not miss it. If you want to create a bootable media, this is a pretty much like you need to know exactly what you're doing. Even I don't know exactly what they put in these bootable medias, to be honest, because all of these are drivers, this, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff, right? So I rely on this application to make it easy for me. What option should I pick right now to make an ISO for myself?
Download automatically.
Perfect. I think you have done this, Sajid. That's why you say something. Cheating.
I remember, it's not cheating.
and Sajid, we have done this successfully in your live training, right?
Yeah.
So if you click on download automatically, guys, look at this. It's going to go out there and say, what do you want? Pick the version 10 because that's the latest one. And it's going to basically say download and install. Look at this, what it tells you right here. 3 GB data. This might take time.
Right. Yeah.
So when you click install, this is going to install an ISO, which I am not going to do right now. So ISO will be created for you. And just like any other ISO, I'm sure most of you know by now where we use ISO, right? You just plug it into virtual machines and install it. So, so when you install that, you download it, then what do? You copy that ISO wherever you need it. You need to burn it to DVD or USB. You create a USB for USB, by the way. Don't create ISO and then turn it into USB. That's just like double work. So then, okay, once you have the ISO downloaded, then what do you do? Like, how would you image a machine? Can anybody guide me now? So let's say we are gonna image a new bare metal machine right now. Let's say this is our new KevTech machine, and we're gonna use the image of Monica. How do we proceed right now? Come on, help me.
You choose go next.
Mm-hmm.
Next. Then you go to your drive and pinpoint that ISO that you just created.
Okay, I do my drive right here, and then what do I do?
you find the ISO where you saved
Okay,
it.
good.
Yeah.
So this ISO was what? This ISO was created. I uploaded it to my virtual environment, but in reality, what is the reality right here? You're gonna either have a USB or a DVD like this. You're gonna just plug it into this machine, and we're back to that phase one, right? Where we talked about WDS and everything, right?
Yeah.
So okay, if you come over here, we're gonna pick the ISO, and then in virtualization is a little tricky. Go ahead, Kev.
No, I was saying that they have the flash drives. You could put Hiram Boot CD. You could put Windows 7. You could put Windows 10. You could put a bunch of stuff on it.
Exactly. Cool. So CD, DVD, WP, CD, DVD. Is anybody using CD these days? I don't know. DVD is also like, I have not seen a lot of people using DVD, by the way.
Actually removed from my laptop, from my old laptop, and you actually could install like additional hard drive.
Kev, you have to say it because your camera is going to show only when you say it, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I'll talk about it later on. There's something I wanted to actually show, but I'll talk about it later. So if I come over here, guys, I'm going to go finish. And in virtualization, it's a little tricky to pick a bootable ISO. You're going to actually start it. And what do you need to do here? You got to be quick right here, right?
Yeah, click right away.
You're going to click inside this black screen, and it's going to say attempting to boot from CD, and you click it in quickly. If you don't do that, it's going to miss it, and it's going to say, oh, we didn't find anything, right? So what happens, that's the Windows 10 PE version that I just created with 3 GB download, and that's exactly what you're going to see. Plug it into your USB or in virtualization, that's exactly what you're going to do. That's how you will select the ISO. Yeah, how else are you going to select the ISO? Like, you got to be quick, yeah. But here's the thing, do you really have to be that quick? Can you change these kind of settings? Yes, you can go to the virtualization settings and change your boot up to, like, say, maybe 30 seconds, I guess. But in the laptops, WP is going to be slow, right? It's not that fast. So you plug in, and you still have a few seconds in the laptop. So if in that case, let's say, man, you guys are going to be like, I know that we're not going to be doing this in virtualization. Watch my laptop, guys. If you guys want to see an action, let's see. Watch my laptop. So here, let's just turn this laptop off. And this is a real example when you are doing an imaging. You're going to be doing this F12. So this is Dell. So I already know that this is F12 key, right? Look, it says F12. And then I got few options here: internal HDD, USB storage, and CD, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking for USB, right? This is an option, right? So if I hit enter, then you see my USB is blinking right now. Does that make sense? So whatever type of USB bootable media you have, you just restarted your laptop with that. Of course, if you're using HP, Dell, Lenovo, anything like that, you got to look for that specific key. And if that's not available, you got to go to boot and you got to make it available. But if you look at my screen, what's happening right here? Server connection in progress. So at this point, what this is looking for a different server, because I just wanted to give you a test example right here, right? So this is going to connect back to your current server that you have created in your imaging lab. And it's going to say, I have this image available with me in my server. In my environment, I have this image available with me. Would you like me to restore everything on top of the machine that you picked? And you say yes. And it's going to say, we're going to overwrite every single thing on this machine. And in 20 minutes, you have a machine with you right now. That's going to be the last thing. So a lot of people. Now, here's the thing. If you guys want to see a whole process like that in reality, then where do you go again? I'll show you right now in a second. So you go and jobs could share image, and look at this. I'm going to click on this imaging and coding.
Don't forget the asset track.
Oh, I got to go with this stupid ad. Okay. Is there any way to skip that? Here? Okay, guys. So if you guys want to see this, how it works in a reality, guys, Sajib and all, because you guys have done, this is a different tool, but like I said, concepts are the same, right? Where do you go? Look at this. I'm actually showing you Ethernet is plugged in, everything, and I'm explaining everything. And then I restarted the machine. Then it's going out there. And actually, here, maybe I'll show. This is actually, here, look at this. This is a good screen for you all. Can you guys see the screen? It says what? Boot to a local machine, client consoles, add host, on demand. So if I can do a lot with that applications, meaning I can even change the computer name right when I'm doing deploy, or I can even deploy the image right from my home, right? I can deploy it. So anything I can do like here, I can just go all of it. Do you want to deploy it? And once I do a deployment here, look at this right here. I have all the images in my server. So I can pick on the image, and after that, what will happen? It's going to start downloading imaging. And look at this. I'm actually showing you like how many computers I'm imaging at one time. That's about like 10 computers right there, right? So when the images was done, then you see I'm saying that, okay, look at that, Windows 7 just came up, all that image came up. So if you guys want to see a practical example, I think this is a good video, just to kind of get the idea, right? Does that make sense?
The dinosaur monitor.
So how many images bombed out in those 10 that you did?
Was that, sorry?
How many images bombed out in those 10 that you did? Were they all 10 successful?
Well, in this case,
you always have one that's been a pain in the butt.
Yeah. With this case, all 10 was successful, but that's a really good question, Stephen. Let me ask you all. If you were to implement an imaging solution, would you use a desktop or would you use a server? It's a very good question, by the way. Why did you pick server? Listen, okay, here's the thing. Let's not talk about WDS or anything like that. I want to talk about if I have, let's say, some kind of like a freeware or whatever it is, and I put an image on my server or my desktop, which solution will cause me problems in future?
Desktop would.
Why desktop?
Are you talking about when you deploy it, like deploying it from the server side or the client side?
Deploy it to the client side. The client, okay, here's the thing. Oh, somebody answered it already. So if you look at it, well, WP don't say the number right there. Well, if you look at it, if you put a image on a server and you deploy it to the client, then will server have any issues with that concurrent connections, what WP is asking?
You can have more connections to a server than a desktop.
How many are on the desktop?
18.
20?
Steven?
Isn't it 20?
20, 21.
And
20.
what server is 16,000?
Yeah, and it goes all the way to
635 or
something like that. Yeah,
something like that, right? Something.
And that's the one example, the first example that when I start training people on file sharing is important, because you got to understand that when you do file sharing, a lot of times we rely on shares, right? And then if you have to implement a solution like this, and if I have a lab like this which has 60 images, then I cannot deploy more than 20 images at once. But here's the thing, is this even a good method to deploy 60 images at one time on a network? It's probably going to kill your network, right? Your network, internal network connections are really going to struggle with this kind of stuff, especially if that lab is on the same switch. The switch is going to go crazy, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Because whenever you think about these type of solutions, you really have to first think about what is the proper place to actually implement this. So we're going a little bit further, of course. That's why I say that if you are going to be going for an entry-level job, nobody can expect you to know this stuff, because hey, who taught you about servers and this stuff, right? And you're gonna that's not something that I learned, right? Even in my job, that's not something I was touching. So even at normal interview questions, people don't expect that. People don't expect you to know this level of information. But at the bigger level, because it is in the descriptions, my suggestions to you all is to watch all this video, watch all the resources that I've shared in here, get the concept right. And then if you didn't get my point here today from my video because it was not a good lab, but you can go back to all of these other videos that I have created on JobSkillshare for free in free courses too, right? I've created an image and I've shown the single images like VM, like just the image of laptop, and restore it back. And that's it. That's normal stuff, right? So imagine if you guys can talk about something like that, then you pass the imaging question in your interview. And I can tell you how many times came back to me in my platform and told me that they asked me about imaging. So don't think that they're not going to ask you. Yes, they don't expect you to know about a lot about imaging, but that doesn't mean they're not going to ask you. Anything you want to add, Kev?
No, that's absolutely right. That was one of my interview questions. Like, how do you boot into Pixie on a laptop? That was the question.
So there you go. And just kind of like, to be honest, for all of you, it's just like, if you guys want to learn more about imaging, just go to documentation. Just pick on one thing. Maybe pick on WDS. Maybe pick on clone deploy that I showed in these videos. Maybe pick on something. I showed like multiple applications, right? Your backup, clone deploy. I showed what? VM. I showed WDS. WDS you have now, I showed you, and then you have access to it too, in a lab format. Look into MDT. That's another Microsoft tool for that, heavily being used by companies. Look into that. Maybe you'll find something. Look into FOG. That's another one. Clonezilla is another one. There's so many, man. I can go on with the list, but there's so many. So maybe pick on one and try to do it in your lab environment and just get to know it. Just get to know it. Just get to touch it, you know. So with this, we're gonna basically end our lab. Maybe part 2, I'm gonna do a full thing on OS deployment, and maybe I'll record it just to save my energy in case. But here's the thing, guys, I'm not gonna be doing any live sessions for next 30 days like this one. The reason for that is that I'm starting fasting tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. So I'm gonna be pretty much dead around 8ish. So any other questions you guys have?
We will miss you.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Nice knowing you. Take care.
So,
you're gonna weigh like 10 pounds next time we see you.
I mean, I'm not gonna go anywhere, Sanjay. Maybe I'll be doing like, maybe if nighttime, if I feel like I'm energetic, I might just do recorded videos on my channel, just to add something, because I have a lot of premium members too, and we just added our new portal and everything. I might just do like basic 2 minutes, 3 minutes videos, specifically for those type of members too, because those are also our members, right? It's not just all doing live sessions and everything. So I might be doing those kind of videos, but I'm not going to be doing like long videos. So who am I going to be? Where you guys going to find me is in the KevTech channel, actually. He's going to do all these live sessions, and he's like, no. I know. So next Saturday, here's the deal. If you join his session next Saturday, and whatever he's teaching, and people who are involved in the lab, and whoever is good and like do the labs, and he's involved or she's involved, they're gonna get a gift from JobSkills Share. We're gonna give them a pretty good gift. So that's something that we want to do this because everybody spends so much time with us, and that's also, I appreciate that, because hey, you guys are also investing your time with us. It's not just we're sharing our skills or anything. You're also very important for us, that you are sitting here and spending all that time. So that's appreciation too. And to make it that way, it's more like, okay, you know what, we can do something for you all. So that's another thing that I would like to do for next of the live sessions that we're gonna do.
Is it 10 free candy?
It's gonna be candies, but it's gonna be good. It's IT candy. It's called IT candy. It's gonna
How to register to that event?
That's a good point. How to register? KevTech, it's your question.
I don't have a registration form. I just go live at 3 p.m. and then I send the invite to everyone.
3 p.m. on
Eastern time.
Eastern time, okay.
Yeah, and it's also, I put it in my community chat, so you go to my community chat and see it there as well. So you'll see it.
TJ is like, you can still eat at night though. Oh well, that's nice. That's, yeah, but the thing is this, that the headaches that you get for the first few days is just like, hey, you got a lot of headache. I mean, you cannot sit another 2 hours of doing live session when you have such a headache going on.
Gotta get used to it, like
yeah,
first few days.
The first few days you get used to it. The first few weeks, like it's like that. You feel like change, that craving for tea, that all kind of stuff, like in the beginning.
Yeah, and me and Steven have been giving Danish headaches, so it's our fault that he has a headache.
No. To be honest, I think you guys are amazing, and especially Steven too, because he has really nice questions, and those questions are very important for learning as well. Now, of course, as you see that I do not have every answer to a very technical or specific number of questions. Let's say if you ask me about some specific number, I don't have that kind of answers. But it's always about what? That's when I tell people that you learn these things. You learn this either from each other or you go to documentation back. This is how all of IT people work, by the way. There's nobody better than anybody, better than here. Like we're all in the same stage right now, to be honest. Because as soon as you start working in a company, you all who have not landed an IT job, you have a different experience that I don't have. And as soon as you spend that 3 or 2 years in your environment, you become an expert in your area and you teach us. We're not okay, here's the thing. A lot of people come to me, what kind of trainers are we? Okay, here's the thing. I am not a book level trainer. I'm not a book trainer. I'm not a certified trainer who will be like you see with CompTIA or somebody who's going to be reading books left and right. We are skills sharing friends, I would say, right? We whatever we have learned, we shared it with you. If you have something, bring it on. We learn it from you. One thing that we have developed so far, and that's good, is that if you have something new, I'll grab it from you. That's how we work. If KevTech has something new, I'll say, okay, that's nice. I like it. I like that command. Right? KevTech is like, I'm sure if I ask anybody over here, it's like, how many commands or something that you like PowerShell? How much you know PowerShell? And if somebody say in this whole chat that I know 99% PowerShell, then I'll just drop this whole channel. And I'm just gonna go and sleep because I feel like maybe I found a Superman right there.
I'm laughing at that, but I'm also laughing at I'm getting emails from people telling me asking me about Steven's YouTube channel, and I'm like, he doesn't have a channel.
Steven got to get his channel, man. I mean,
yeah, everyone keeps asking me.
Because once Steven turned on his channel, you're gonna see where's Danish? Danish is always sitting there, and Danish is always bugging Steven, like, "Hey, Steven."
Yeah.
I think Steven's gonna grow a beard at the time he opens a YouTube. You see how he's been doing his jaw right there? I noticed that, Steven.
Nah, it's a scruff. It's scruff.
Oh man, my screen has been long for a long time. It says 7 women to 1 man. Look at the right side. Look at the ad. that's a different type of ad right there, man. Okay,
I don't know what you'd be downloading on your web browser, man. You gotta be careful with that.
Okay. So, did I give any, like, for people who are new, did imaging make any sense today?
No, not at all.
I'm out. So, any questions, guys, for you who are online? Any questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you do all that again?
That's why I'm going back for 30 days. I'm like, I'm not coming back, man.
Watch the video. There you go. He'll do it all again. You know, another thing too, I found today. I told KevTech earlier. I downloaded the RSAT tools because I spun up a domain controller and then a Windows 10 client. Then I put the RSAT tools on my Win 10 client. It doesn't have the DNS function.
It doesn't even have a DHCP as well.
Well, no, it does have that now.
Oh, really?
But it doesn't have the DNS. And apparently there's a bug with that, and Microsoft was supposed to fix it, but they never did. I don't think they really care anymore.
Are you sure it has DHCP?
Yes.
Let me see.
It did it on mine that I spun up. And I was looking for because I was looking for the DNS. I'm like, where's the DNS? Like, it's not there. It's very interesting. And I think it's actually a bug. There's something wrong, and people have some wacky fixes, some hacks you can do, and apparently it's been out for a while like that. Nobody wants to fix it. So there you go, Danish. You can send something to Microsoft, Mr. Bill Gates, and ask him to fix the damn thing.
Man,
Bill Gates never doesn't work any.
I'm RDPing right now into my computer for my job because I have RSAT tools and I want to see if it's there for me.
But it depends on when did you install and what, because that's kind of like another thing, like which version of Windows, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
It was today, and people were complaining about it on. If you
But,
search it out.
but what version of Windows were you using, Steven?
Windows Server 2019. No, well, I'm sorry. Windows 10 Enterprise
Enterprise. Okay.
with the actual RSAT. So I downloaded from
so
Microsoft.
you went to features right here?
Actually, it's not in there. Only the thing that's in there. The only thing that's in there is the LDAP.
No, the thing is, this is kind of like a light version of it. It does have it, by the way.
Go into like control panel.
Mm-hmm.
Go into a control panel and then go into programs and features that way. So yeah, bring up like control panel.
Let's do it from here.
Yeah.
I never use the old way, right? This one. Okay.
Yep.
So you go to the features right here, program.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, that's kind of like a little older.
And go into Windows features. There you go.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
And that's how they specifically tell you to do it for Microsoft. And you can see that it's right there, Active Directory, lightweight directory services. That's the only thing they give you. But that's not it though. That's not it.
Let me show it to you. You know how I would do this? Do it this way.
It's called RSAI, as I remember. This way.
Let me show you. Just go to the. Steven, are you watching on the screen?
Yeah, I'm watching.
So you go to the add features.
Uh-huh.
You go all the way down.
Oh, is it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different way.
I already probably either installed it, but it's there right there. Administrative tools. I'm not sure if this is the machine that I already used. Hold on, let me just.
Oh, so it is in there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, how installed my computer.
I know what you're saying. I know because back in the days they didn't have that feature, so it doesn't have it, right? So you're gonna come over here and you're going to pick this one right here. Which one is that?
Back in the days, you're supposed to download this package and install it on your computer.
Here's right here, Steven. You would try this one, and once you do this, this gives you the AD and everything. But this one don't have DHCP, by the way. Look in the bottom right here, DHCP server tools. So everything is separated out, like DNS and everything.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Group policy, if you want to add the group policy here. And this is the method that I use in my trainings because
so you can actually piecemeal it together if you wanted to.
Yeah, so like
as well.
The method that I use over here is like, because this is where the future Windows 10 is going to go. They're going to remove all of this stuff right here, right? And they already started removing most of these features from that older UI, right? So so if you come over here, try it here, you're going to see the administrative tools and everything. But you're not.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll have to try that. I'll have to try it tomorrow morning. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's pretty easy too, because I know back in the days we have to go to online and we got to download it and we have to specifically mention the version 2 with it. Like you have to make sure that you are downloading RSAT for enterprise and you have to download a pro and all that kind of stuff. And now they made it super easy. They just go to the features and look like exactly this is the part of this one, you know. But is another, if you're doing this, here's another tip for you. If it doesn't show up in like, let's say 3 minutes, right? Then know that there's a pending update and you have to restart the machine.
Now that's what they were saying on the chats about that. Yeah. You know, they were saying some update has to come down with it, but and then they made up some script. Some guy out there made up some script that you can actually implement.
Yeah, like so far I have done this probably, I don't know, by like 50 times. So I don't know, like I've done this when 909, when I upgraded all my servers with these images, I was using the older one and that was still working with 903, I believe. And before that, I used to download it. So I don't know when this actually kicked in, but I found out when I was like doing a this latest one, 909, I believe, and then start doing it very nicely. Like I had never had any issues with it.
You remember I did it on a live chat with my laptop? Remember?
I think, oh yeah, you were
and
doing
then I had to restart it and it finally came up.
Exactly.
Did it as well.
And it happens to me in some of my labs too, where like my machine was on for a long time and it was like pending updates, and then I had to actually restart the machine with the updates. So it works pretty nicely after that.
Okay.
Because this is one of our thing that we teach in Active Directory, right? Because we heavily rely on our SAT, and we teach people that, okay, you don't get access to domain controller directly. So how would you even manage machines, right? And that's kind of like one of the pieces that we show for a lot of techs, right? So Sanjay, you want to say something?
No, I'm just listening. I'm a
Okay.
good listener.
Sanjay, how long have you been following us again?
Uh, I have joined your channel 5 years back,
Man,
and yeah,
wow. So
yes.
Sanjay is a pretty old JSS.
Mhm.
So
And I have learned a lot of things. Like also, I have passed my interviews after watching your channel because it's hits directly to the skill. It means somehow I also don't like to read the books all the time and get the things. So we are like a practical man. We do directly practical. We gain skill and we answer it. It's like
that's
that
awesome, man.
only. So I love you a lot. That's why.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much. That's such a great. I mean, to be honest, that's just very like I can definitely feel that kind of love from people that really enjoys this kind of content and everything, and I appreciate it. And KevTech has also really good stuff that kind of relates to exactly the same thing that I'm doing. So we love him too.
Group hug. Oh
Love symbol. Love symbol.
I'm gonna take out this piece from this whole video. I think the whole video was like, to be honest, this is like boring as hell. I'm gonna only take out this piece from this video. I'm just gonna put it on my channel. I'm gonna put it on my channel intro. Like that's the only thing that mattered today. The rest was just like blah 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 whatever. Thank you, WP. I love you too. People
Yeah,
who
and
are
Danish, you told the people about that maze ransomware, which I have been shared with you.
which one? Sorry.
That
Oh.
the latest attack.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send I'm gonna put your links in the community once I go over it. So what he did, Sanjay, start sharing some of the links with me that is really beneficial. Like there's a security training, a fundamental security training for free by one of the pretty big company that is out there in the market, and then they're teaching that kind of stuff, fundamental stuff for free. So I'm gonna put that links tomorrow and the other things too, Sanjay. So thank you so much for sharing that kind of information. I do appreciate people sharing information with us that helps other people. Just let me know. I'll just have to check it, make sure that it's a good link. It's valuable to what other people are doing, similar stuff. Then I'll put it on my community. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you, Blanca, too, and everybody. So if we don't have anything else, and I think we should go to sleep and then just kind of like and I never guarantee anything. I might come tomorrow live, by the way. I don't know.
No, Donish, we still gotta still stay live for another couple hours.
Okay, before we go.
24-hour live.
Okay, we can do this.
There we go. Yeah.
Before we go, I want to see who is good over here. Let's find out. I want to see something. I want to test people right here. Let's see your knowledge right here.
Okay.
Who's ready?
I'm ready.
Restart the computer.
I'm not gonna restart the computer. And people who are watching us in the chat, let's find out how good you are. What is this?
Backup server. Oh, Windows XP.
Okay. All right. Let's find out. And by the way, guys, if you guys see a very small icon like this, like, what the hell is that? You can actually fix this with by going to virtual screen, and you can just do 150, and then this should come up. There you go. Does that make a little better now? Is it better?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You do that.
Okay. Tell me, guys, what is this right here on the bottom right here on the right side, the green icon?
MSN.
MSN is what?
MSN
Chat.
Messenger for chat.
Yeah.
Microsoft Messenger.
Microsoft Messenger. How many of you remember this?
Yeah, this one also Yahoo was very good at that time, like in our older days.
Okay, how do you join a computer to a domain in Windows XP?
Oh.
Go to my computer, right click, and
Wait.
computer name.
Hold on. You're too fast. So what do I do? My computer? Where's my computer?
Go to start. Yeah. And my computer, right click on my computer and properties.
And then?
And now
computer name.
the
Computer
page,
name.
computer name, yeah.
Okay,
And
good job,
now,
man. You guys are good. And change, and okay, it's the same.
XP is our first love.
Oh, all right, let's see. How do I share a file inside XP?
You go
Sorry?
to File Explorer.
Let's say we go to my computer.
Yeah, my computer.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we can go to C drive. How do I share a file over here?
Well, you make a folder. A new folder. Yeah.
Then?
Right click, properties. Oh, sharing and security. Sharing. So.
Holy, what the hell is this?
To share this folder with you.
Yeah, wow. Look at that.
Wait, hold on. How the hell do you share a folder? Like, where's advanced options right here?
Share documents. God.
Anyone of you remember this stuff?
Hmm.
Like I'm having a little struggle right here. Like I understand the risk. Okay, I do this. Just enable it.
Just enable it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Share this folder on network.
And then okay. How do you add and remove in XP, by the way?
Go to control panel and same way.
I can do it from here too, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, look at the screen.
Mm.
Add new programs. There's no programs already in there. Oh, there you go. This is probably what's the new features, right, Steven? I think that's what it's doing. Like finding some features, I guess.
Yeah, with Windows components, right? I believe.
Yeah. Trying to add Active Directory.
Do you guys remember that if IE was not working, you would come here, take the IE off, uncheck it, check it back again, and it'll come back up again, right? A lot of people were like, "How do you install IE?" I'm like, "No, you don't install IE. Like you gotta go inside the Windows, right?"
Yeah, but sometimes you need SD to install it.
In Windows, you can still run a web server if you guys are good at web server. You can still run an IS server. You can do a lot of other stuff too here. Okay, here's a question right here. Let's see if people can answer it. Kev, don't answer it. Can you browse in Windows XP right now?
Browse like
yes.
What?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. How the browsing would work, Sanjay? So you're right. I can do what? I can go to Google and it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's okay. Give me more information. I want to get my answer. What can I do inside the Google now?
Well, search.
Search. So what do I search? Do I search something?
I know 1, 2, 3 or
maybe job skills share.
Job skills, yeah.
Okay, if I search it, then what happens? Let's see if you guys are good with
old
security.
Google is coming. Old Google is coming.
Well, old Google. How did you figure that out that this is an old Google? How is this an old Google?
It's pretty seems like old.
No, that's just a web browser. Old. It's not old. Google is not old. Google is the same.
Let's install Chrome.
If a Google was old, then how would it know about job skills share, right? The new job skills share or anything, or give me a brand new website. It's still gonna pick it up. But what's the most important thing that you guys learn that why we are not using XP anymore?
Because it's not secure anymore.
Yes, but what happened?
HTTP.
Good job. If you click on it, watch what happens. Can I get to HTTPS? No.
No, yeah, it doesn't work.
Because most of these Google platforms or other platforms have blocked XP from getting connected to them. Does that make sense? Most of the systems do not allow XP by default now. Now you can make it work if you install a certificate inside this, but man, imagine what kind of process you have to go through to install each certificate on top of your email XP, and then it's still probably not going to work because there's more TLS kind of information out there. There's way more information, right? Even if I go to properties and I open TLS 1.2, 1.3, it's still not going to work. So did you guys find something pretty crazy?
Yes.
Google itself. I actually learned this from one of my videos. I want to give the credit. A channel, I'm going to share that channel. It's a really good channel. I'll share it later on. So I want to give the credit where it's due because I did not knew this and I was not thinking about it. So when I watched the video and I understood, okay, wow, that makes sense. So Google, if you go to Google first, right, or you just type google.com, not HTTPS, by the way. If you just type https/Google www.google.com, that's correct. That's fine. But if you type just google.com, you know what's happening? It's going to HTTP and it's redirecting to HTTPS. So in the beginning, Google is not secure. If you just type google.com, it's actually not secure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you were to search something in google.com or something in that moment, somebody can actually attack your system if they're too good at it. Right in that moment, they can actually take over. But that's the guy who actually explained it. I'll share his channel later on. He's like a developer with this kind of stuff. He's really good at this stuff. And he said he actually sent a bug to Google and he showed it live too, and the bug is still open. So I was like, man, that's just crazy. Google, just stop HTTP, man. So if you look at it, of course, there's nothing more you can do with XP after this. If you really want to break this system and want to get into it, then of course you can go online and kind of play around with it to find.
Maybe we'll make another video how to break systems.
Yeah, but you know why I installed XP for you all? Because I wanted to play pinball for the video.
Oh, right. My favorite game.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Here's the thing. I got stuck, Steven, and help me out, guys. How do you move this thing right here? This little thing.
Oh, it's it wasn't with the controls or the alt or something like that. The controls button.
Is it the space key? Is it the space with the arrow key?
That was a control.
The space is for hitting the ball. So I'm hitting the ball. You guys hear? You guys are hearing the noise right here? Is the voice coming to you guys?
Oh, the shift keys. Try the shift keys. The shifts or the controls or something. Whoa. Yeah. Sticky keys. Never mind. It's not the sticky keys.
Anybody? One of the letters. Can you guys hear the audio in this?
Yeah, we hear it. Pretty loud.
Was it the Z and the question mark?
Let's see if anyone gets this right. I'm giving
Well, this is something you can do on your fasting. You can play this all day.
Yeah.
This thing will give you a friggin' headache.
Man, come on, help me out. I've been looking for online and everything to figure this out. First of all, I'm searching online, Steven. I'm like, what do you even call this thing? Handles? Pinball handles.
Listen, now we need to download Counter-Strike.
Yeah. I don't know. What the hell?
But yeah, I tried everything. Control, A, S, D. Control, I tried that, TJ.
Well, it tells you, doesn't it? Go up to where it says help.
Oh, here you go. F1.
Yeah.
Should tell you in there. The bumpers, the targets. It should tell you.
Maybe I should just type
It usually doesn't work here.
type keyboard or keys or something.
Hang up.
Keyboard control right there, all the way in the bottom, right there. I see it right there. Keyboard controls, right there.
Oh, there?
Yep. Down.
Keyboard
yep. Click on that
controls.
one.
Pinball.
Hit display. Keyboard controls.
Use keyboard control.
Oh, there.
There we go.
The Z and the Z and the question mark. That was close. Well, it says Z in the back in the forward slash.
Yeah.
So
slash.
does it call flippers? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Z and the okay, let's try it.
I guess you're not a pinball wizard, huh?
Wait, how do you start this new game? Steven wins the game.
There you go.
Captain is like laughing. Oh,
God.
oh, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try at least one time before we go. Oh, what was that?
First is go off here.
Welcome to Job Skillshare. We're gonna stay here for
Teach
all night.
people how to play pinball.
Wow.
Who's that? Bilal?
You should have this as like your last video of everything after all the teaching's done. You gotta pass this to pass your course.
Hey, anybody just watching, like Vilad and everybody, hey, what are we doing? We're learning. We're
You
learning.
have to nudge it now.
How to develop pinballs.
There you go.
We're learning how to do a password reset on pinball.
Imagine if we have a gaming channel.
Oh yeah, it would be more fun.
Jetin is like a new person just coming in right now. He's like, what the hell are they doing? Oh my god. So I went in there. I was like, man, what else can I do with XP? They have definitely guys.
Yeah, there's other games there too. You get other games there. I know there's like if you hit games.
You know, my favorite game in this was
Solitaire.
this one. Yeah, this I think the basic one. This one.
Minesweeper's tough. That thing's weird.
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
And honestly, I don't know how to play these games. Maybe like this, right? How do you do this? I don't
You
know.
can set up servers, but you can't play freaking
9 to
solitaire.
3
Come
or
on.
3 to 9, something like that.
He's like seriously like honestly, I don't know nothing about like this kind of stuff. I'm like the worst person to know this. Maybe 8, you put 9. I don't know. This is not
No.
my game, guys.
Put 3 to 9. I think that's how it works, or something. Or maybe 3 on this empty field.
How many people know this game now?
Yeah, you call help desk for this.
You put 8 of clubs under
Solitaire's
9 of
not working.
diamond.
Look at this. All right, let's see another one right here. Let's see what else we have. Minesweeper, I know. Spider Soldier. Okay, that hurts.
Minesweeper's pretty cool. I mean, it's different, but it's
Yeah, try out Minesweeper. There we go.
it's kind of like I don't understand the concept of this. Like you gotta be good at math, I guess, right?
I think it's like some kind of blocks that matches, but I forgot this.
So it's sort of like Sudoku, like 10,000 years ago. I don't understand. Like,
oh, I missed the. Okay, so when you hit this one, it's 0, right? Anyways.
you have to match them. Yeah.
What else do we have? Accessories. How many people know accessories right here? Okay, do we have paint yet?
Yeah,
Paint
we
is
have
still there.
paint,
Come on,
yeah.
paint is not going away. Remote desktop connection. I feel like if you are using XP and you don't know about remote desktop connection, then it's been coming from that area. Notepad is still there. Command prompt, calculator, system. Oh, look at this system tools. This is for technical people. How many of you remember? How many of you
This
remember we have to do
defragmentation,
just this one and that one? System center, the backup. I'm sure that they may have some kind of like a floppy backup in there too, or something like that.
I think I was doing this every week or so.
I'll be honest, XP was like the boss, to be honest. Like it was such a great operating system. That kind of got a lot of people involved in IT because it was so easy. Like just right click, do it. Right click, do it. Entertainment. Okay, that's just. Oh, how many of you remember this type of calls that we? So I'm sure Steven probably remember, KevTech probably remember it. Like you would get an audio file from somebody, will download it, and then it will not play in this, and they will need like a codec or something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to install different player for that.
So yeah, WP, I agree with you. It was definitely not mirrors because it was never a solution. It was like defrag your hard disk and it will be fixed, and no, it never worked that way. So let's see what we have else we have right here. Communication.
Do they even give you a hyperterminal now anymore in the
Oh yeah. Oh,
Windows 10?
remember, I played with that Hyper
And
Terminal.
what?
Yeah, hyperterminal.
Where?
Yeah, it was really fun. In communications,
Okay.
Hyper Terminal.
Oh, this one right here. I
Yeah.
don't even remember that. Maybe my
I
mind.
remember the days when I was connecting to my friend
Oh!
and we were just typing
I see.
together.
Wow, so romantic.
Where's your AOL at? You gotta download it.
AOL, MSN. I got MSN right here.
You have a disk. I seen it the other day. You had it, a disk for AOL. Remember? On your one video, you had it.
Oh, yeah. And my last video that I was talking about. Yep. Is there anything else in XP? Because it seems like it ended pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's not much functionality there.
Yeah, I agree with you,
I
TJ.
think you should boot into Hiren on Windows XP.
Oh man, that's just gonna be. It's probably gonna be a. I don't know. It's gonna be like just a disk in there, and we won't get anything. Hiren, the old one may have some good stuff in, but the new one is like Windows 10. Man, you got all this new tools in there.
Mhm.
How many of you remember creating a network connections?
Oh yeah, I remember that thing.
Network setup wizard. Let's see. Oh, I mean, this kind of like the same, right? Disable.
Yeah, this is the same
Enable.
thing.
It's almost the same, and almost this area is like almost the same. But look how many things got added now. Like if you go to Windows 10 right now, trust me,
Yeah.
IPv6 and 6 and so many different things got added. And how many of you remember? Because right now we're specifically calling it a what? IPv4, and this is almost the same area. So advanced. It's this. Some of these features have not changed, to be honest.
Somebody just joined us. It's fun. Hello, everyone.
Who's that? Oh, that's
Martin.
Mentz. How are you, Han? How are you, bro? All right, so we go on all that kind of stuff right now.
Done. Let's open up IE and go into internet options.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. I think it's gonna be the same tools. Yeah, right. And what if this happened? So many people are gonna call you, right? In XP, you're like, "Where's my bar?" Right? And it's still the same thing. You right click, you go, and go to properties. Oh my God, did IE not change? Did IE not change in this 10 years?
No, not much.
I'm like shaking my head right now. I'm like, seriously.
Security is the same.
It's exactly almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of proxy stuff. My proxy's right there. Look at that.
Yeah, it's same.
Advanced. Advanced may have something new, by the way. If you go to the advanced, there's what? There's actually a reset on the bottom now, right? You don't see that in older one. It just says restore to default, but there's actually a reset button. And to be honest, if you guys want to know how I got this XP I was telling KevTech, I did not install it. It's a pretty cool thing. I don't know if Steven is listening. I got a portable virtual box that day. Remember, there was actually like a few years ago, there was a portable virtual box. VirtualBox was famous. So I actually got this portable VirtualBox software and then added this XP to that portable VirtualBox. So I got this this file from that. Steven is showing his line right there, man. Steven, that's a good job right there. Keep on doing that.
Oh.
I don't have.
All right, I'm gonna put my little man to bed. It was great hanging out with you guys.
Thank you, Steven. So
Danish, don't like lose too much weight, before Saturday. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to show up KevTech there.
To be honest, we usually gain weight. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you're not moving that much, and a lot of people just get lazy.
All right, guys. Good night. KevTech, I'll catch up with you later, and definitely be on Saturday with you as well, live. And we'll see you guys then.
Sounds good.
All right.
Have a good night, guys. Take care.
Bye, Steven.
Bye. Bye.
Take care, Steven, everyone. So anyone that's joining us, bye-bye. So anyone
Bye.
that's joining us now, we're at the end. We're just showing some just fun stuff. We're just kind of talking to each other, and Steven is still doing bye bye with his loin right now. He's gone right now. So if you are interested in knowing about the OS deployment, imaging, and everything, please go back to my video from the beginning. It has a lot of
I have
information.
monkeys.
What is that? What is that?
I have monkeys.
Oh, happy Ramadan, bro. Khan, happy Ramadan. Ramadan, how are you? What is that? Is Vilad, is that your toys, man? That kind of.
It's my wife.
What's up? What's going on
Look
with
at
all
Kev.
these? What's up with those teddy bears and
Do you
Kev,
have any?
why the hell do you have teddy bear? Do you sleep with that teddy bear? What? Tell your wife hi. She's been listening to us. Are we boring her or what?
No, she's just waiting for me.
So I'm gonna after this, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put all my teddy bears and stuff like that for my son, and I'm gonna bring it right here. I'm just gonna clock it right here. This is what I'm gonna
Great. More toys.
do. Anyways, guys, it was fun talking to you all. It was fun at the end too, and I think KevTech is bringing something else. I guess maybe a sword or something.
Oh God, giraffe. Oh, what's that?
KevTech, we don't want to see. We want to see your sword, man.
That's my teddy bear when I was 3 years old.
So, KevTech, maybe in your live session, you should start with a sword first. If anybody do a mistake, then.
Interesting.
Anyways, guys, so thank you so much. I'm gonna go to sleep now. Too.
I have a copy of Windows XP, so if you want it, let me know.
I already have an XP copy.
I have
I want one.
I have an ISO copy of it.
If anybody wants like a virtual box file like this, then I can give you that. This is like you don't need an installation. You just put it in a virtual box and it just boom start. No problem. If you guys want this, there's no installation done, nothing to worry about drivers or anything. You just need a virtual box and get this file from me and just run it if you need it.
I'm gonna
How do I get one?
so aim on it.
What's
and
that? Sorry.
How do I get one?
I'll put it in a download, but I'm gonna put a big warranty stuff like that. I do not take any responsibility if somebody got hacked or anything happened. I'm gonna first put that in there. But thank you so much, all. I'm also tired right now, and I'll see you in KevTech channel, and maybe later on I'll do my little small videos. I always want to thank you all for spending that much time with me. I really, really appreciate it. I love you all for that. KevTech, thank you especially, and also you're spending so much time with us, Wilad, Jerry, Sajib, everybody who's live today, Rahal, and people who were live before, people who are in the chat. I especially also want to thank you all for all that time with me. I seriously appreciate all of you. If there's anything that we can do for you, just let us know, comment and everything. We will always come back with our new videos and everything like that. So again, thank you so much. Go ahead and enjoy your sleep, and I will start my Ramadan in a few hours. And happy Ramadan to people who are fasting, and happy Ramadan to you if not fasting. So take care.
Thank you, Danish, for sharing your
Take
knowledge.
care, Danish.
Thank you,
Danish.
Kev, for sharing your knowledge too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kev. Have a good one. Have a
All right,
good
you
night.
too, guys. Take care. Danger.
Kev, have a good
Good
one.
night, guys.
See you, man. Take care.